we can be bullshitting though. Like the whole point, like you ever watch an episode of something where it's like thing, intro splash, rest of episode. We can do that.
Joe Rogan do that?
I don't give a shit. No. He starts with an opening bit. He does all his sponsors, and then he goes, all right, and this is the thing, and then he has his intro song, and then song.
So let's do all our sponsors.
Sponsored by Pearson, that weird company.
Fuck Pearson, dude. I hate Pearson.
Fucking hate Pearson.
Also Java.
Pearson. Who?
Java.
Oh, Java.
The Hut.
JAVA.
Java the Hut.
Hey, this is High Science. My name is James. I don't know things. This is
John.
He's our
Science guy.
This is Cat. I mean, this is
You're yelling.
Cat. That's Cat.
who's talking to you? No. Who are you?
I am Cat. Yeah.
And what do you do?
I know stuff.
She knows stuff.
Mm-hmm. We got special guest Jake, the space guy.
Yeah, I do space stuff.
Sick.
No, last week.
You do have to be a little louder.
Who?
You. All right.
Last week we had Sean. And remember I didn't talk about quantum or gravity because we were waiting for Sean. I deliberately didn't talk about space for a long time because we were gonna have Jake.
Yeah.
Jake's the man.
You fucking better know everything about space. I swear to God.
Well,
So,
I know a little bit about space.
all right. So what I've been asking people first is
Wrong way.
what I've been asking people first is why did you get into science originally? Like, why did you study science this far? Like, what is drawing you to space and science?
Well, in high school, my senior year, physics, when I wasn't paying attention and I was still getting it for some reason, everybody was like, why are you getting this? And I was like, I don't know. And I just got it. And then I always thought at the end of the day, physics is pretty cool. And then once it's...
Stuff's alright. It's alright.
Yeah.
Hey,
But like, I don't know. I like knowing the answers to things. And like, knowing how nature works is like kind of the ultimate knowing the answer to things to me.
I feel that. That's cool. I like that. I got into physics for pretty much the same reason. I was just kind of like good at science and math, and I felt like it was very practical. What I got to do,
Well, yeah.
So, all right, cool. So, that was drew you to physics.
Yeah.
So what drew you to astronomy then?
My freshman year of college when I took some entry-level astronomy class, and it put me to sleep because I used to watch the Neil deGrasse Tyson show on Netflix.
Cosmos?
Cosmos. And it used to put me to sleep.
That's the shit.
And then now every time someone talks about space, well, at that time I was just putting to sleep.
I can't think about that show without thinking of like when you nut but she keeps sucking, and it's just that gif of him like floating like
I've never seen that show.
man, it ruined that whole show for me. No, it's just great.
Ruined it. Have you seen it? You've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
it?
oh yeah. I've watched all of it. I like
So
that show.
fucking good.
And then we started talking about black holes, and I was like, yo, black holes, dope.
Yo.
Shit's dope.
I went up to my professor after class, and I was like, yo, black holes, dope.
Dope.
And
You
he's
should
like, come
wear
to my
like
office, you're
6
strong
gold
later.
chains because you talk about black holes.
Okay.
If you like black holes, I got this website for you.
Oh
Yeah.
No.
boy. Don't ever go to any website James ever sends you ever.
But I like black holes.
Not the ones
Triple
that
X
he's gonna
hamster
send
dot.
you.
No, I'm not.
Hey, man.
Not those black
I don't
holes.
discriminate.
Against
A
hamsters,
hole's a hole.
right?
Alright, that's noble.
One could be full of lava though. You got to be careful.
Yeah, that's true.
If you had to encounter one of those,
I'll
let you know when I
This is a
do it.
pothole in the street full of lava.
Watch out for those. Yeah, that's crazy.
That would suck.
Yeah.
Public
I
service
would hit
announcement.
that pothole.
And there goes all of my tires.
Fuck, yeah. And more.
It's splashed on a person riding their bike next to it. They're just a skeleton on it.
would lava even
Skeleton bike.
splash if you drove a car through it?
I think it's very viscous. It doesn't
I
really
have heard
Is it
that if
viscous or vicious?
it's,
No,
it's
it's
pretty
not
vicious.
vicious.
I've heard that if a person were to fall
Hold on,
into
lava is both.
I've heard that if a person were to fall, say, into lava, they would bounce off the top because it's very hard, and you would just basically skid across a very hard, hot surface until you burnt to death.
That sounds awful.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, right.
Um,
And then
Alright.
maybe you'll, I guess, catch fire and eventually become one with the lava. But
You catch
Not if
fire
I'm wearing lava
almost
boots, I won't.
immediately.
yeah, sure. But you wouldn't sink like it's not. You're not going to splash into it like water.
You're not
Like
squeezing
Cannonball.
water.
Do you remember
Yeah,
playing? Do you remember?
Yeah, you would just break your tailbone and then burn to death.
That's.
That's the way I'm planning on going.
Do you ever play Floor's Lava as a kid?
I still play that game.
Yeah.
Like, if
Apparently,
I-
it's a new.
If you look, I'm never
trendy
touching the
Snapchat
ground.
thing.
I was about to say we'd like post these a month late, so this will be dead by the time that
Yeah.
we get to this
Do you
podcast.
think
If we're
move that
lucky-
quick? Did things move that quick?
Yes.
Yeah, because kids
We're in
don't.
the 2017.
Do you still
shows.
dab?
Yeah, everyone dabs, dude. All right.
Oh,
Dude,
God.
somebody
Nah,
dabbed
I'm
in
so
my
happy.
friend.
I think that was the only one I've ever done.
Video.
Glad we're all here to experience that. Okay, let's go back to space.
Yeah. Go into space.
So, space is big.
It's pretty big.
It's a big place.
I guess.
So,
Or is it small?
I'm sorry.
well, I mean, that's all relative. dude.
I'm kidding.
Space is something that I feel like humans at their core are just interested in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we've
Well,
always
it's the
looked
unknown.
at the stars.
It's the
Yeah.
next unknown. It's
Right.
the final frontier,
Yeah.
as some would call it.
I guess yeah, you're right.
Like,
Oh, no, they keep-
there must have been a time. So,
They keep-
as far as human history goes, we must have always looked up.
Always. That's how we navigated. That's how we told stories with constellations and shit. Dude, it's the coolest thing if you're chilling with people and you're like, oh yeah, that's Orion the Hunter chasing that constellation. You know what I mean? Like,
He's
you're
been
the
chasing
coolest
him
person there if you
forever,
could do
yeah.
that with the
No.
constellation.
No.
No, seriously.
Lamest
Maybe
guy.
I've been
For
always
sure.
been
Okay,
impressed by
okay.
that guy.
Not if you're saying Orion. Everybody knows.
Well, yeah, I
Not
mean, that's the only
anymore.
one I know. That's why I said it.
Not anymore, but like the guy who like was like, no, do you see that thing up there?
Mhm.
It's a bear, dude.
That, yeah,
See
see that
shit?
bear. Look at, it's like, nah, man, it's a bunch of dots. He's like, shut up, it's a bear.
Pretty
You know
much.
what's weird? Like some constellations, the animal they picked is shared across cultures. Which
Yeah.
is weird, you know?
Well, I mean,
Like
if
some
it's
Native
close enough in
Americans.
shape.
It's but like
I mean, to an Asian fella, a bear.
Yeah,
looks
but like
a
it's
bear
stars,
to
it's
some
just
degree.
dots.
yeah, dude, it looks like a spoon.
There's nothing about.
Yeah, we're
Earth or
pattern-seeking
nature that
creatures,
looks like
though.
a fucking bear.
Right. Super weird coincidence. All right.
But like, yeah, all right. Yeah, yeah.
no, what?
No, I mean, like, if it sort of looks like a bear, like, if somebody can make that out,
Yeah.
somebody else is.
But also, different parts of the world see different skies.
Mhm.
So if they like caught, they look at it a different way, and they still say that's like a bear. That's
It
kinda
must be a
weird.
bear. It's a space bear, clearly.
Space bear.
Is that the correlation we're making? Is there actually space bears? Is
yeah,
that
so-
what we're going to learn tonight?
And
Yeah, we're actually living in a big planetarium.
It's a space bear.
space bears. Okay, so fucking space is big, and there's a lot of big numbers in you to wrap your head around when it comes to space. You know, like whenever you look at a diagram of the solar system, it's almost always wrong, because there's no way it could show you the space between the planets and the size of the planets relative to themselves in a diagram that makes any kind of that's informative in any way, right? It's either like all the planets are jumbled together and they kind of show you relative size, but they're nowhere near that close together. There's way more distance between the planets than the planets are big. If that makes sense, right? And that's like our solar system. Like we discovered these planets pretty early on, you know. Fucking.
How early on?
When did we start
What's early
discovering
on?
planets? Do you know?
Well, was it the Greeks or was it earlier?
Well, they're called planets because in Greek it means like wander.
So
or something
probably
like that.
close to 200-300. Like as far as being able to look out and see a big dot and go, that's probably another thing.
But like probably for a long time they just thought they were stars that moved.
A bigger star, yeah, like
You know-
a brighter one.
You know what I learned? To tell the difference between a planet and a star in the sky,
Centigrade motion.
planets. Well,
Wrecked.
planets twinkle. No, planets don't twinkle. Stars twinkle. Is that cool?
Is it because one's giving off light and the other one is just reflecting light?
No, I think it has to do with the particles that are in space in between, like around the outside of our solar system, right?
The explanation I got was that the stars are so far away that like you kind of see like the fluctuations of light that's coming at you. It wasn't really a good explanation.
Are planets
I mean, that
closer or
makes sense.
further?
Yeah.
I guess the sun is our closest star.
Yeah.
Period.
So
Yeah,
and then
by a
planets,
lot.
Yes.
and then planets are way
We're talking
closer
about
than the
other
nearest star.
stars.
Right,
That's
sorry,
what
I just
you
need
see
to
at
put it
night.
together a little bit.
So that's a big deal though. So the sun is a star. That a lot of people don't know that.
New hot take on the sun.
New
It's a
hot
star.
take.
Hot
It's a
take.
star. Hot take on the sun because you know why? Because it's hot.
All right.
Welcome to Unintentional Puns, the podcast.
Fucking. All right. So the sun is 99.8% of the mass of the whole universe. Not the whole
Solar
universe. Excuse me. Excuse me. Solar system. My bad.
What are the other stars? No, sorry.
Oh, wait, no. Of the solar system.
Yeah. Not the universe.
Yeah.
It was the
So
universe.
the sun.
Universe, that'd be quite.
We'd have to
weird,
think about other stars and how they're garbage compared to
For
ours.
real?
What?
Of our solar system?
No, like somebody explained to me like when I was younger in some science class, I learned like to make it like a realistic diagram of the solar system. Like Pluto would have to be like blocks away,
Yeah.
even though like
Yeah.
like us to Venus or us to Mars would be like a couple feet or something.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
But the sun, like if you were filling that diagram, the sun would be like several blocks big.
yes.
Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Like it's that massive?
It's very big.
Shit.
It's smaller than the blocks away for Pluto. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, but it's very, very massive. Like if you look at the whole solar system, if you could see them all, right? It'd be like Sun and then like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. You know what I mean?
Podcast, John. Nobody can
I know,
see it.
yeah. So super crunched together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you start
everyone
getting
who's
space
listening.
when you see Jupiter, and then Saturn's even further. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uranus is super far.
So there's a bunch of us just kind of jumbled relatively
The
pretty close to the
terrestrial
sun.
planets.
And then as you get further out, they start getting further out.
Yes, exactly right.
Are they
So
drifting?
no, they're pretty locked into their orbits.
But is that orbit getting wider over time?
No. They're in those orbits because
The
that's
moon-
the best orbit they can be in.
Yeah.
Everything else that was because there's like millions of things orbiting the sun. So like all
Okay.
those things didn't have good orbits because they hit into other things. But like all the planets, if you think about it, they've been in orbit for this long.
Is it?
So they're very.
I'm sorry.
They're also very circular too.
Yeah.
All the orbits, all the planetary
almost-
orbits are like pretty circular.
So you probably learned in school that their orbits are elliptical, right?
Yeah.
And they nailed that concept into your head so hard. So you probably went home and you're like, all right, so it's super elliptical, right? But like really, it's mostly circular.
It's a pretty good
pretty
massive
cl-
like
yes.
circle.
Yeah.
But like it is slightly elliptical. There are two like foci.
So really quick,
Yeah.
is everything kind of circling like out? Like is our solar system also circling something like with other solar systems?
Yeah.
Our solar system is in the Milky Way galaxy, like orbiting the supermassive black hole in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy.
Super massive, dude.
Is that orbiting something?
Yeah, that's
There's maybe.
there
Because, like,
Is that
we're
an
in a-
idea?
Well,
we
no,
don't know
because
yet.
like
Write
we're
it
in
down.
like we're in called like the local group, and that's like
Yeah, it's our
the next,
neighborhood.
Yeah, well, the next closest galaxy, like it's like the group of 10 galaxies that's the closest to us. But technically, we're the most massive in our group, so like other galaxies are orbiting us right now.
Yeah, we're pretty big compared to the other galaxies around
Yeah.
us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We got the biggest galaxy in the
Oh,
world.
man. Everything's bigger in Texas, and Texas is in our galaxy.
It's
so
true. I heard that.
Get wrecked every other galaxy. I hope they have other life, and I hope they one day transmit this, and then can tell I'm flipping them off. Other people
over an
in other
audio
galaxies,
podcast.
They're gonna find this they're gonna dig it up
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, it
and
would be a
roll
couple billion years from now, but whatever. Who cares?
Who cares?
Just know you guys suck.
Right. Whoever you are. But thanks for listening, though. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we
Really nice.
like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah, high science. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends, tell your neighbors.
Tell your space friend. Fucking solar system
All right.
nerds.
So remember we talked about special relativity for a little while. Remember we talked about like everything is moving relative to something else, and there's no inertial frame of reference as far as we know in the universe. Inertial.
That means like not moving.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's no space. There's no place we could point to in the universe like that spot is not moving, so we could use that as our zero. You know?
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we couldn't tell if there's a spot that we're all just moving around.
Yeah. You can't tell.
Well, I
there
mean-
there
yeah,
is
yeah,
some
I believe you.
mathematics like fixed point mathematics that like everything has to move around something else. I don't know much about it though. I was just reading about it and I want to learn a little more about it, but so that could be evidence of inertial frame of reference. But as far as we understand in science, there is none in.
We haven't
the universe.
found a legitimate reason to even think there's one
Yes.
yet.
Right.
We're willing to think about the idea. We'll
Right.
bat it around like a cat. But
Well, the whole universe is expanding too, so there's no spot in the universe that's not moving.
that's
Right.
rough.
Seriously. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Bubble expansion.
Yeah, man. So when it comes to astronomy, something that I think people don't really talk about, but it's like a really important idea is. Careful now.
Yeah.
You good? You on fire?
I might be.
One of the things that people don't really understand, like talk about, is how do we know these things, right? We could say all this crazy stuff about the universe that it's expanding, everything's expanding, that these things are this distance away. Like you could Google right now the distance from here to the sun, right?
Would these be considered very educated guesses?
So everything has a margin of error,
Yeah.
right? And honestly, probably one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing about science, is just to make that margin of error smaller, Remember, we can never be certain about anything.
Yeah. My car might not be parked out there because I'm looking at you.
Right. In science, we kind of we talk about that more as I can never know exactly where it is. It's always plus or minus some value, right? And as our experiments and our technology gets better, that margin of error gets smaller and smaller. We get more and more confident about things, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to astronomical stuff, when it comes to measuring things here, you want to be accurate within fractions of a centimeter, right?
Yeah.
That's how accurate you want to be in order to figure it out. But when it comes to astronomy, because the scales are so big, you could be accurate within kilometers. Kilometers are pretty big,
Yeah,
but you could be accurate within those because that's small relative to the big stuff up there.
Yeah, it's real good if you
Right.
get it within a freaking kilometer.
Yeah. So we know the universe is expanding. Do you want to explain it? Do you know why? The whole redshift thing.
Well, yeah, because every galaxy we look at that's not in our local group, because some of them that are orbiting around us could be moving closer, but every other galaxy that's not in our local group is redshifted. It's called the Doppler effect. Because it's moving farther away, when the light gets bounced back, it's
It's further
wider.
than before.
Yeah. So that's remember when something makes waves, right, and it's moving, where it's moving, those waves get crunched, right, and the waves that's making get bigger. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As it's moving away. Yeah. So if the waves get bigger, that means the color that it should be gets redder. Does that make sense? Okay. We expect to see a certain color up there, but it's redder than we observe it. And the fact that everything is slightly redder implies that it's moving away from us. And every direction we look around Earth, every galaxy out of the local group is moving away from us.
Yeah.
So either we're the center of the universe, which seems unlikely.
Yeah.
Or the whole universe itself is expanding. And that means space. It's when I say the universe is expanding, you're okay,
but isn't that a fallacy?
What?
I don't know. Just giving me those two options.
No.
Ultimatum.
No. It's not. It's not an either or. It's I feel like when people say the
said
universe is expanding, we're all kind of just okay.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of questions.
I might tell you no.
Yeah.
Sure, it's fucking
But listen,
expanding.
there's a lot of questions. What is it if it's expanding? What is space as we observe it expanding into? Right.
What's on the outside?
How
What's
small
on the-
was it once?
Right. Well, it was really small once.
I guess.
Infinitesimal.
Yeah. All right.
Just
So
a point in space, and then exploded, and now we have this.
right. And then the reason why we know
Free
that
real estate.
right.
It's free.
Everything's expanding, right? So a lot of questions. But then, we can also track how fast things are moving away from us, and then you could figure out how long ago the universe must have been a point. The very fact that it's expanding means that it could also have been. It has to be contracted at one point, right?
At one point,
Yeah.
a real team.
And that's how, based on that calculation, we know the universe is 14.3 billion years old.
Huh.
But so if it's expanding, that point would have to be an inertial point, wouldn't it?
No, see, the thing is, so the way space, three-dimensional space is expanding, the best way to think about it is think of a surface of a balloon, right? Now imagine you have a balloon that's not really inflated too much, and you make a bunch of dots on it, right? You can measure the distance between those dots, you know what I'm saying? But then you start blowing up the balloon. The surface of the balloon doesn't expand over any one point. Everything expands out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Is there a center to a balloon at any given
There's
time?
no center. It doesn't even make sense to ask where the center of the surface of the balloon is as you blow it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because it's being blown up, you can't. It's like the waves thing. You can tell
Right.
how fast it's going, or you can tell where it is. But if it's
Yes.
going, you can't really tell where it is.
Right. So we can't point to any spot in the universe that would be, oh, this is where the Big Bang happened, right? Because it doesn't even make sense because
Yeah,
all of
smoke and
space,
listen.
all of space crunched together. So how can you say where that is if everything that you could ever perceive is just getting all crunched up? You
Okay.
can't say where it is.
Yep,
You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
Weird as fuck.
Dang. So it's not even a good question to ask. Is where's the center?
Right.
There's not even a point. Shut up with that question. Don't even
I
ask.
thought they were all good
No,
questions.
they lied to
No.
us about that in school too. Sometimes you're fucking stupid.
But
No, not you.
but listen, the fact that you have that question leads you to understand that it's a
why
dumb
it's not a
question.
good question.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you learned
I
something
learned
from it.
Yeah, learning not to even ask a question, I guess, is still an
I don't know, man, but
advantage than not knowing not to
Yeah.
ask that one. You're now I know why I shouldn't ask that question. I know why the question I had doesn't make sense, and then it kind of aligns your
Yeah.
ability to make sense of it
Right.
more to what I guess the current theory on it is,
Totally.
the current ideas in that direction are.
Yeah.
Well, explain
You
it.
gotta
That
be
was
wrong
good.
to
Yeah.
figure out
I mean, yeah, you got to figure out what's not. You got to
Right.
figure out what's not right. I mean,
Right.
Isn't you were saying that that's kind of what science is? You figure out it's not.
Exactly.
This is more what it isn't than what it is.
Right.
Eventually, you figure out so many it isn't. You kind of go, it's probably this.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud right now.
Character
Bring together
development.
so many ends.
Yeah, I'm all about sucking at science to learn more.
You know, dude, you're
science.
good. You're probably in a better spot in science than I feel like a lot of people.
Shut up.
No.
Don't look down on the entire
No.
audience.
Like, subscribe.
All like 100 of you guys are killing it. Oh my goodness.
Don't be hitting nothing, dude.
Sorry.
So don't.
It's on me.
All right, fucking. So, all right, so the Big Bang.
Oh, shit, hats
do you
off. No,
do you?
back on.
The Big Bang as a whole is a very
Too much.
Too much. We're not gonna go there right now. We'll go. That's a whole episode.
No,
in itself.
man, you never do this.
We gotta
Is the-
talk.
Oh man,
We gotta
Is the
talk
Big
about-
Bang's so scary that you can't tangent for like a second.
There's like
It's-
5 different stages of the Big Bang within like.
Have you listened to
hundreds
any of our podcasts?
But like within like hundredths of a second after. It
And,
happened,
dude,
we had,
like, what's
errors
actually even
of, like
happening?
what existed. It's
Yeah.
like fuck that.
Oh, jeez.
It's a lot. It's fucking a lot.
So it was just
Well,
really
no, so,
changing.
see, I feel like we have the perfect person here to talk about the fucking.
Yeah, and you're
I'm
not.
not-
Are you like?
I
I mean,
don't
do you
have
live
my
here? You just
notes
come
on
out?
here. I can't just go.
No,
spit
what
this
Jake
Can
is
you
all
wing
about.
it?
Jake isn't. So Jake like studies cosmology, right? But his wheelhouse, like the stuff that he's just been looking at, was star life cycles.
Okay,
So
so
let's talk
that's,
about
is
that.
that where we're getting to?
That's
This
where we're
is
getting
fresh from this semester. It was
Fresh.
Stars and Galaxies.
Look
It
at
was
yeah,
just-
right in there. I
Get
can
my
see it.
brain in it.
All right, so a good question to ask would be like, why did things form the way they have, right? Like, why do we have these nice like planets and stars? Where do they come from, right? So like, gravity, right? We all agree gravity
And gas pressure.
and gas pressure.
Hydrostatic equilibrium makes circular
Yeah.
objects. That's why.
So like, imagine you have all this gas, right? You have this big gas cloud, and this gas cloud is spinning, right?
Yeah.
Spinning gas cloud. You with me? So, because of gravity, when you have a gas cloud, like it should clump up, right? Because the gravity, it's gonna, especially if it's not completely uniform, which we wouldn't expect it to be, right? There would be some
It's
like
gas.
more
It's doing
dense
its thing.
spots and like less dense spots. So it starts clumping up, right? And it starts clumping up as it's spinning around. And obviously, like the center of the gas cloud is where a lot of the big clump happens, and the edge is like little clumps, right? So it starts clumping, and everything's spinning, and everything's going in a circle, right? And eventually, it clumps up to the point where, and especially in the middle, it clumps up to the point where something really, really important happens in the center, right? There's
Really important.
super important. Do you know where I'm getting at? Do
yeah.
you want to take it away?
I'm pretty sure he's like, yeah, you're talking like 101 shit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, all the gas starts clumping up and it makes, because a star is all, most stars, like the main sequence, like small stars, it all starts out as hydrogen. So, like, all the hydrogen atoms get clumped together, and it, like, there's a, they would show us, like, a video or something that someone made, and it was, like, one of the biggest simulations they've ever made, because there was, like, so many points and stuff like that, it was, like, wild.
Yeah, simulation was cool.
It was and it just clumps up all the spots.
make
Like
a
it shows
team
like a
star?
square, and then it shows it like clumping at the spots, like spinning around each other. It just spits out stars.
Jeez.
Dude, it's crazy.
And
Star
then,
Factory.
Yeah, Star Factory.
and those stars, they're just like little clumps of hydrogen, pretty much.
Right.
And then other
Sorry.
gas and stuff just starts orbiting it, and more. It's just all crazy stuff orbiting each other.
Yeah.
But then the biggest spots of hydrogen, they turn into a star, pretty much.
So like this gas cloud, it gets so dense and so high temperature, high pressure in the middle, right? Because there's so much crunching going on that nuclear fusion starts to happen. So you look up at the star, you see a burning thing, right? That's not the same fire that you would find here on Earth with a fire.
They
You know
used to
what I mean?
think that it was powered by coal. They actually even calculated how long it would last if it was.
For a while, we
Like,
thought
so
it was
when
that's crazy.
They were like, when's it gonna burn out if there's coal in there?
I
'Cause
didn't
only
know
coal
that we
burns.
thought it was cold for a little while.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And then they calculated it, and they were like, "Fuck, we shouldn't even exist."
Man.
Oh no!
Must be God! It must be! We'd be dead by now. Or
man.
snow people.
Or snow people.
No.
It'd be
Our
cold.
sun should have went out.
Fuck, that's crazy.
Oh, God fixed everything.
Everything. I
do like the idea of just like we've got a really good theory when we got some math and it leads to
Ah, shit, we should all be
Oh,
dead.
we should all not
Ah,
be here.
why are we
Well,
all alive?
Well, we're here,
radio
so
racers.
Are we
Where there's-
wrong, or are we just miracles?
are we not
I think
here?
we're miracles.
Right. I want to hit religion. I want to hit.
No,
it.
we're not
I
going
wanna-
there.
We're not going there. Right now.
We'd never go there.
No, I
We
want
have
to talk
no
about
opinions on that.
it. No, I really want to talk about it. I think like I said, I I want to talk about it, but I have good things to say. I think.
No, they're non-overlapping magisterium.
I don't know what that means.
It means that they can both exist in a universe where they're both right. Have fun with that thought.
I'm not gonna even go there. I just like my brain just melted a little bit.
We're both 4,000 and 100 billion years old. We're both very young and very old. Or the right age.
Oh, like Goldilocks.
Or exactly where
Goldilocks
we should
age. Yeah. Anyway, so fucking the. All right, you back with me with the gas cloud?
Yeah,
Spinning,
I've
clumping?
never left.
You never left. So nuclear fusion starts to happen, right, in the center. And that's when a star is born. As soon as nuclear fusion happens, you have a little baby star.
Oh,
Isn't that cute? A little baby nuclear fusion reactor
Like a
star.
red dwarf
Big
or
does it
whatever
have
is
to be
angry.
for that to happen?
I don't know the limit off the top of my head, like how much gas and what confined volume will make
How
a
many
star.
Earths?
Like, could there be like a tennis ball star?
No, I don't think so. Because
You really have to pack it together.
Yeah.
You really got to pack it together. I guess it's possible, but you really got to pack it. Like, we want to figure out when it happens naturally, when like this clumping occurs to the point where like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
That's
don't
what
know.
I'm asking.
Yeah. I don't know.
Could we
should look that
make
up.
a tennis ball sized one by clumping?
By
We got a
clumping.
clump.
just clump it. Makes
Call
sense.
CERN.
Yeah, we'll get
Gotta
a
make-
clump sign.
Well, I mean, like, but also because stars are like so big, something like the size of a tennis ball. I think if you packed the sun into a tennis ball, it would make a black hole. Like that's its limit.
Hmm.
Dang.
Everything has a limit that'll collapse to a black hole.
Yeah. And
Huh.
that,
Yeah.
The Earth is like a nickel. If we put all the Earth into like a nickel or something like that,
It'd be a
it'd
black hole.
be a black
Jeez.
hole.
Shit.
Right.
Maybe,
'Cause-
I think something smaller than that actually.
yeah, I don't know.
Something like that.
That's interesting though.
Maybe a marble.
It's like
Yeah.
2 centimeters in like diameter for
Right.
people who don't have nickels.
Well, let's get to black holes on the life cycle, and then we'll dive into black holes. How's
Oh,
that sound?
Dive in.
Dive right in.
I'm ready to
Alright.
be assimilated.
All right, so spinning gas, right? The new baby little star.
Makes a planetary nebula.
Yeah,
Proplid.
Proplid.
Yeah, that's what they're called. Look them up.
I didn't look
They
up-
look
I didn't
pretty
know
weird.
Proplid.
They look like a sperm cell.
Sperm
Oh,
cell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
That's how solar system.
New
that's-
hot
it
take
makes a
on
solar
proplids.
system.
The sperms. Space sperms.
Yeah, what if we're just looking at someone's nutsack?
Yeah, what
What
if
if it's just someone's nutsack?
there's a whole lot of order in here?
Oh man,
So
you gotta
how
write a
do you
paper.
spell that word?
Proplid.
Proplid? P P-R-O-P-L-Y-D?
Okay.
Didn't expect the Y in there.
LMXYP. They're silent at the end.
Maybe the Y. I'm pretty sure it's a
I
Y.
hate you.
Planetary nebula, same thing.
Yeah, whatever you want.
All right, hold
Just
on.
get close.
So-
Google's great.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I just wanted to.
Shout out Google.
Just like search
Shout
it
out.
like with your vocal thing. Just like proplids and see what
Oh,
happens.
okay, Google.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't
Stop
know how
it.
to use
Oh,
that.
we're gonna see if we can turn anyone's phone on.
Somebody else will do it now.
All right, fucking spinning clumping.
Clumping.
So now this clumping starts happening, right? The sun's really like so the stars clumping up, and these little things on the side are clumping up too, but not enough to make stars. And eventually, it looks less like a gas cloud and more like a solar system. That's how our solar system forms, and that's why all the planets are orbiting in the same direction, because it started from a big old gas cloud that was spinning. Right? It already had that angular momentum, so it just clumped
Yeah.
up and kept going.
Just a big clump of shit.
Right.
That looks like a sperm cell, and then we get a solar system.
Rad.
Rad. Alright.
Space sperm.
So the sun is aggressively average.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about me right now?
No, the sun,
Because
dude.
that's like that would be on my Tinder profile. Aggressively average.
You gotta update.
Professionally mediocre. As my actual girlfriend would say, adequate.
Adequate. Okay.
Barely making it.
Satisfactory.
You could do this all night.
There's a lot of synonyms for that word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh god. All right, so
Aggressively
average
sun.
the sun. So there
not
are, as far as we observe, there's about like we're right in the middle. There's a decent amount that are bigger than us, like way bigger than the sun, and there's a decent amount that are smaller than the
But
sun.
like, there's different cycles too. Like the sun's main sequence. So and like in the star cycle, it's like its main sequence. Like
Yeah.
exactly what it means. It starts out as like a little star, and some of them expand, and some of them keep getting bigger. Some of them stay like, you know,
Yeah.
relatively
And
small.
depending on how big they get, depends on how much mass they have at
Yeah.
first, how much dust they start off with, you know?
Okay. Is that like the basis?
Yeah.
Is how much dust?
Right. The
There's
more
gonna be
mass
the-
you have, the
so
more
is there gonna be-
intense star you're
Well,
going to
it's like the more.
Is it going to be similar clumping too? Like is the like it's going to be the same amount of like pressure on these stars? It just really depends on how much dust.
Well, if you have more mass, then you have more pressure because
It's not
of more
really.
gravity.
It's not dust. Dust is a bad word.
That's
It's
better.
gas.
Gas. Yeah, yeah.
Gas.
Gas
all
is better.
gas.
You're right.
Gas.
So it's all just like it's like the elemental
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah.
Of all this like.
Yeah, because you don't want to think of it as dust
Mostly
particles.
hydrogen.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's a gas. It's like hydrogen atoms, like
Yeah.
floating around.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm
So yeah,
Right.
just larger cloud means more mass,
Right,
means
yeah.
different size star.
Yeah, it's in science. It's like the language you use is so important. You know,
Yeah,
like
because I was just like, wait, is it like a clam when they make like a pearl? It's got to be one little piece of sand in there, and then just a lot of saliva.
right, a whole lot.
But
Put
I
it in a
imagine
necklace.
if you picture
If you picture
like,
dust, you're
the-
way off.
the gas atoms
Yeah, yeah.
doing
Yeah.
that, then
Right.
it's fair.
It would look like that.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
I'll give you
No, it's fine. But like, I was like, yeah, it was gassing with dust. Dust in the gas.
But all main sequence stars are relatively the same size. Like they're it's like a range, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, and then as main sequence, because hydrogen fusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the hydrogens bump into each other and make helium because two protons make a helium and not a hydrogen anymore, and that actually is pretty crazy just to think about there. I mean, like to you, it probably doesn't, but like.
Why? Yeah, I was gonna say, well, why is
Because
the
they're
helium not a
both,
hydrogen?
imagine
now?
two positively charged things like colliding and making a new atom.
Things that have
Like like
previously made a different atom.
no, not even that. Because they're
They
not
just make a
attracted.
new
Just think like
thing?
magnetism. It's two
Oh, because you
positively
make
charged
them.
things.
You
and,
guys do it.
Like,
Just,
I mean, like any physics person would know that like
yeah.
the force that it takes for those two atoms to get close together, like for them to touch is like infinite amount of force to bring these things together.
Okay.
But like, just because there's so many packed in such a little spot, and they're flying past each other so much that it does happen like relatively often. But also, quantum tunneling, which is a whole nother thing.
Oh boy, we're not going there.
But yeah, just
Detour, quantum tunneling.
Like, yeah, right. But yeah, like quantum tunneling makes it so that it does actually happen. It passes like the asymptotic line of the force that it takes for them to happen.
Yeah.
That's like a big potential well that it breaks through.
Man. All right, I'm gonna try to explain it. That was very well explained. That was exactly the right physics, right? So what Jake is saying is like, you have two positive things, right? Those two protons.
Imagine
And-
pushing two ends of
Yeah, you
ends of
can't.
a magnet
Right, you
together.
can't touch the ends
Like
of the
it's
magnet,
like
right?
for magnetism is a little different though. Like
Yeah.
imagine like
These things shouldn't.
Right.
They shouldn't touch, but there's a lot going on.
But because there's so much temperature and pressure, do you remember we talked about particle physics, the strong force, the gluon?
yeah.
That's short range. That's short range, but super strong, right? So this electromagnetism keeps it away, but as soon as it gets past a certain range, it sticks
Like,
together.
oh, we're glued
We're glued now.
via gluons.
And that's the only way that we know of naturally that heavier elements are made. The fact that you're carbon, oxygen flowing in you, there's nitrogen in there, there's heavy metals, right? You have to have iron, you have to make sure it's iron in your blood, all that stuff. All of that stuff, the only place that could have been made is in stars.
yeah.
The only place those atoms could have like traced back to has to be stars.
Yeah, because after the Big Bang, only hydrogen. It's
Only
as simple
hydrogen.
as
So
that.
what you're saying is the sun is actually God
Yeah.
because it
Well, not
created
our
us.
sun, because
Our
our
sun.
sun.
Yeah, our sun's
like,
not
our
cool
sun
enough.
is a
Our
lot of-
sun is aggressively average.
Yeah, it does. It's not big enough to make a lot of
It
good sense.
was once upon a time.
Yeah, pretty much. But like,
So we're talking the life cycle of a star, right? And it starts when this fusion happens, right? A lot of energy gets released. So
that's why the sun's so hot.
yeah,
Because making that is like a lot of energy.
Super hot.
Spits out from that.
Yeah. So as time goes on, it's burning its stuff up, right? And
It's cool.
it gets bigger and bigger, right? It's like a baby star growing up. That's the main sequence. The main sequence is like a standard growing up of a star. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
And then at the end of the main sequence, red giant always happens, right?
No. It either goes to a red giant or it goes to low mass stars go to a black dwarf, which
It just burns out.
No, but like the core is still there, but it's just not burning anything, so you can't see it because it's just a circle of atoms, pretty much.
Is that like the same like concept as those planets we can't see because they don't really have a star, or their star has done that?
But like actually, I was just gonna say that black dwarfs haven't happened because
Or they
according
haven't?
to our best knowledge of that, it's for the amount of time that would take to happen for any star is like more time than the universe existed.
Oh shit.
So technically it should happen,
It
but
will-
it
eventually,
hasn't happened.
We're not going
Right.
to say it.
That's crazy.
But yeah,
There goes, checked it off the bucket list. Won't see
Think
Black
of the
Dwarf.
kind of math you're doing in astronomy, though.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You end up with numbers. Oh, that's longer than the age of the universe. Can't give me this.
Throw it away
Like the thing is,
or
it's
wait.
just just using scientific notation, those calculations aren't even that difficult.
Yeah.
But like you look at it, and it's like 3 point something times 10 to like the 24 seconds, and
Yeah.
like at first you're like, all right, but then you really think about it, and you're like, oh shit, that's like billions of years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
like I can't even
Yeah.
comprehend that.
Yeah.
at the
So
time.
that's when you say 10 to 24, that's 24 zeros. Imagine you write a number. Imagine it's like 16 times 10 to 24. You write 16 and then you write 24 zeros.
Oh.
That's just the short way to write it when you say 10 to 24. And dude, these numbers, every time you get a zero, these numbers get so fucking much bigger, dude. You're multiplying it by 10 every single time you add a zero. Can I real quick talk about the difference between a million and a billion? Did we talk about that yet?
Go for it. I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I think
All right.
me
So
and
is
you
this one?
talked
Is this
about
one
it.
called
Did we talk about this?
aggressively
I'm not sure if we
adequate
have,
and
but I just think
bullshit?
It's funny because Joe Rogan talked about this on his podcast.
Did he?
Today.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Sponsored by Joe
All right.
Rogan.
Joe Rogan, like, subscribe, sponsor.
I'll fly to Cali and hang
He
out
didn't
with
pay
you.
us to do this.
He did not play us to this.
Yeah, well,
You
yeah,
gotta
he
say
did.
I
that.
would like to meet Joe Rogan though. Heads up.
Yeah, I would let him pay us to do this.
Yeah.
He paid us with a podcast that he
All right.
made.
So listen, every time you add a zero, it gets huge, right? And when we're talking million, billion, that's 10 to the 6 and 10 to the 9.
Yeah.
Right? 10 to the 6, 10 to the 9. So imagine you get 10 to the 27, dude. It gets crazy. But anyway, so the difference between 10 to the 6 and 10 to the 9, a million and a billion. I'm going to give you like a concrete thing to hold on to, okay?
Give me
Because
that.
these numbers are big and abstract. How long do you think a million seconds is? If you had a guess. Mike's not allowed to answer. Don't say it.
It's like 2 weeks.
It's a good guess.
It is a good guess.
Popular guess too. I feel like everybody
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
that's on 2 weeks.
No, I wouldn't have guessed anywhere close. He just fucked it.
You said you waited.
I mouthed it.
Don't
but he still got
mouth
it
it.
wrong. He still got it wrong.
I intentionally got it wrong. I could have just as easily said 11 days.
It's 11 days,
Yeah,
dude.
that's
It's
what you
about
mouthed
11
at me.
days.
I just didn't want to
Yeah.
say it. I felt shitty about it.
Yeah. No,
14.
I want this to happen naturally.
It's 14 days, I believe.
I believe.
But I,
With no
yeah,
outside
I wouldn't
information.
have guessed
Right.
11 days.
About 11 days.
Academic integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long do you think a billion seconds is?
Oh, man. All right, so... No, a month.
Okay.
Totally wrong.
It's about 37 years, dude.
No.
I'm so happy you're taking a sip at that
I was going to
moment,
just
dude.
spit it all over Cat.
I would have murdered.
It's totally covered in Guinness.
A million
weed.
seconds is about 11 days. A billion seconds is about 37 years.
Jeez, okay.
That's the difference.
That's strong.
So that's the difference between 10 to the 6 and 10 to the 9. Now we're talking 10 to the 24, dude. At this stage, we don't need, we can't eat like that. These numbers get bigger than there are atoms in the known universe.
You know what's like fucked up? I do these like when I get like 10 to like the fucking mass of the sun is 10 to the 30 kilograms.
10 to the 30 kilograms, dude.
Imagine like a 1 kilogram weight
This,
and 10 to
this is
the
about a
30.
kilogram, right?
I don't know. How much does a Guinness weigh?
About a kilogram?
How much is 8
kilogram, right?
ounces
It's
of
like,
liquid
oh,
plus bottle?
It doesn't even
Google
matter.
Hit us back live.
Imagine 10
Google.
to the 30 of these.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
You
And
know?
it's all
I
hydrogen.
guess.
It's
I
all
mean,
hydrogen and helium.
If 10 to
too.
the 9 is
Well, mostly.
34 years, this must be a lot of kilograms.
Fucking yeah, man.
But like also going back to the size of our sun, like
Yeah.
10 to 30 kilograms, and it's like,
It's average, aggressively average.
but it's mostly hydrogen and helium. Like
Yeah.
The two smallest atoms that we know of is made mostly of, and it makes up 10 to the 30 kilograms.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's a lot of atoms.
It's a lot of atoms.
Dang.
All
But,
right.
like there's other big stuff in our sun. That's why it's main sequence. But also like getting back to like the reason why we have the elements that are here today, because like when we'll get there. This happens at a Big Bang.
All right.
Not
All
a
right.
Big Bang, a supernova.
Right. So the sun's growing up. You want to take it from the sun growing up?
Yeah.
All
So our sun's gonna turn into a red giant, and it's actually gonna get so big that it's gonna swallow up the orbit of the Earth. So that's cool.
How much time do we got?
Oh, we got
A
plenty
long
of time.
Like 7 or 8 years?
We're gonna kill ourselves way before that.
That's sick.
No.
Well,
I'm
no, dude,
optimistic
that's
humans.
close. We're around the corner. I learned a whole bunch about JFK
but, like-
and like his whole presidency and what the Cold War was like.
Oh,
I
fuck.
can't believe we're still alive. Must be God. I'm sorry.
Oh,
but also
shit.
like
Yeah.
From the cosmos, actually, Shadow Cosmos. If
Shout out.
they say that the Earth is well, not,
Sponsored
if
by
the
Cosmos.
timeline of the universe was a calendar, and Big Bang happened on January 1st, the humans would only be alive for like a few seconds on New
No,
Year's
not even
31st.
last
Like
second.
December
of the last.
31st, they're in
Yeah.
like a second they're
Right.
alive.
They showed up.
So like that all happened, and we just been here for that little bit.
But like the Industrial Revolution and stuff.
No.
Dude, all of history happened in like a cosmic like blink of an eye.
We were
Pretty
a
much.
fart.
We blinked
In
on.
time.
We
We
blinked when they were counting down New Year's,
Oh, dang.
and those.
We're not even like a New Year's kiss. We're just like,
No.
It's New Year's
Now we
essentially.
suck.
dang.
Yeah.
That's fine though.
Fucking
One day
yeah,
will be like a gasp.
yeah.
But yeah, but that's gonna happen in like a few
Yeah.
billion years.
Yeah, a couple
So
probably.
good luck.
Yeah, people haven't been.
So
around
why
that
do
long.
red dwarfs happen? Why
Red
does a
giants,
star
you mean?
become red giants?
Well, because all the hydrogen collides with each other makes helium, and then there's helium and not hydrogen anymore. If you think about it, like it doesn't just make hydrogen. There's only a certain amount in there.
Yeah.
So when all of it collides and makes helium, the heliums collide, and it just keeps. It's like a run-on reaction, and then eventually it starts burning carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. That's when it crosses over into the not main sequence anymore. It's like a red giant.
Yeah, so when Jake says burning it, he means like, so remember the hydrogens stick together, make helium? Now it has so much temperature and pressure way higher that the helium stick together and they'll make carbon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll make carbon.
Well, I don't know. Yeah,
Carbon's
carbon.
next, yeah, right?
I think so. Yeah. 4 protons? No, carbon
No.
is 6.
Yeah, carbon is, wait.
So no, it's
what's
2
4?
heliums. That's why.
Yeah.
That's 8.
No, that's
Uh-oh.
2 and 2 is 4.
Wait, what?
Well,
Whatever.
no, I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Helium,
nerds are arguing.
Man,
carbon.
You're too busy dealing with scientific notation and billions and millions. You guys can't do like
I can't
simple
even remember the
Yeah,
periodic table right now.
plus one.
Come on.
Yeah,
I know.
we're losing 2 plus 2. All right. So fucking. But
There's
anyway,
a certain amount of heliums that hit
Yeah.
each other. No,
Right.
I think it's 2 heliums and a hydrogen, I think, or something like that. It's
yeah,
whatever
that's
makes 6 protons.
yeah, whatever.
Count them up. Hydrogens, few hydrogens, few heliums. You got to
Whatever you want. It gets hot, shit sticks together, we get a sun.
Man.
Earth.
Fucking all right. Anyway, when things get hot enough and high enough pressure that that heliums could stick together, that releases even more energy,
I
right?
didn't come here for formulas.
And okay, so hold on. So the sun is its size because the reactions going on inside is pushing it out. It wants to explode, right? But gravity is holding it in, so it kind of just stays at this size, right?
Yeah.
But when helium would start getting burned, like this new element releasing more and more power, that's kind of like turning a knob and making the sun bigger because it has more energy to push out now, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense? So now it could push out even further, and the outer layers get colder, right? Because they're further away from the center. Keep in mind that when I say colder, we're still talking about like the sun.
Yeah.
So it's super, super
Yeah,
hot.
you wouldn't want to touch it.
You know what I mean?
Catch a sunburn.
Do you remember what temperature it is in Celsius? I forgot.
I know in Kelvin.
What is it in Kelvin?
The
Then just
I
subtract
just wouldn't know if
32.
it was in Celsius. Give me Fahrenheit or shut up. Right? I'm an American. I'm kidding. You give me whatever you want.
Well, that's-
I can't comprehend.
How do you
it.
even get from Celsius to Fahrenheit? It's like you have to plus
There's like
32 and then
3/5.
times it
It's
by
3
something.
fifths.
It's fucking
3
retarded.
fifths plus 32.
Like how the fuck did Americans come up with their system of measuring shit?
I can explain.
What in the fuck
Okay,
is
so
that?
give it to me. Dude, you're not gonna pass it my way. I would have been like, metric seems easier, guys. Like, what are we doing? I was like, no, but a foot's like about the size of my foot. Thanks. Shout outs to measuring things in stone. English idiots.
Where did the
Moving
imperial
on.
system come from?
Stupid people in this country.
Well, a
It was
kilogram
here
is
that
a
it
stone.
started?
Yeah, but it was
Actually,
it was
no,
a
it's
stone
not.
before. It's like measuring nautical speed in knots. It used to be how many knots in a rope were tied, and the wind would pull.
Oh, wow.
That's weird.
Yeah, like we stone is what is it 30? I don't remember what it is in
That's
in
interesting.
American. But yeah, a
Well, I
stone.
know, like, some
a
English
stone
people are
comes
like
from
3
medieval
stone.
time. Like it's before we knew what a fucking kilogram was.
That's true. I can't wait to talk about units, dude. I want to do that next.
We'll get
I want
there.
to talk about units.
Fuck.
I
I'm
can't
so-
wait. I fucking
exciting
can't wait.
new episode.
No, I
units.
can't wait.
I hate you.
Who's excited
Yo,
for units? Get
my
hyped.
goal
on the
is
edge
to
of
get
the
Kat
Get hyped for
excited
units.
about units. That's the
That's
goal.
never
It's
happened.
gonna happen.
Oh,
I
she's gonna
promise
be
you.
like, at the end of that episode, you're gonna be like, man, I'm gonna throw a party for units because they're so fucking cool.
They're so cool. All right, where were we? What the fuck were we talking about?
Temperature of the sun in Kelvin. It's 5,300 Kelvin, I think. at its
5,300
surface.
Kelvin.
But like at the core, where like like all the nuclear fusion happening is like thousands of Kelvin.
Okay, so
It's
if
like
you
10,000
take
Kelvin.
that,
Way hotter in the
Yeah.
middle.
if you take that number and subtract 273,
No,
is it added?
273. Yeah, 273.
So if you
subtract.
take Kelvin and subtract 273, that's
Yeah,
how much it is in
Celsius.
Celsius. That's all Kelvin is.
Okay.
I think it's like 10,000. Yeah, at the core.
Right.
Of the sun.
That's fucking hot, dude.
Really?
It's fucking hot. Right
Really?
now, room
Wait,
temperature.
is it hot like
It's
when
a
you
few
go
million degrees.
like how
Like,
close to 98
in layman's
degrees
terms.
So-
Fahrenheit?
So listen, like room temperature in Celsius is like late 20s, I believe, Celsius.
Yeah.
Late 20s.
That's you
room
guys.
temperature. Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, for the next 3 days.
That's exciting. What we do? We'll talk about it.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's
We're gonna go to the beach. No,
Fucking.
stay on play video.
All right, so it's hot. So the red giant expands, right? The outer edge gets cooler, and when things get cooler, they get redder.
Yeah.
Huh.
By Wien's displacement law. Remember that?
Yeah.
What's his name?
a
Wien.
Veen.
His or
W-I-E-N?
I think it's EIN.
E-I-N, I don't know.
Wien.
However those, what are those
Wien?
Europeans doing?
Wien.
dang Ween.
Well, but it's like Veen.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know. All right, so it gets colder, so that's why it's a red giant, right?
It's
It's
Vigo.
burning a lot more stuff. It gets much bigger.
Sick.
All right,
But
do
yeah,
you want to take it past red giant?
yeah. That's like the cycle. It's a carbon, nitrogen, oxygen cycle.
Yeah.
But then those shit start hitting into each other and makes heavier things. And
Right.
it keeps
If you have
expanding.
enough mass for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's after a red giant?
Let's go the low mass way first.
Low
And then we'll go
mass?
the high mass
All right.
way. Because low mass is like still intense, but it's whatever. High mass is like, dude, like what the fuck is actually happening?
It makes a neutron star, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't it? It blows off into the
A
planetary.
white dwarf it makes.
Yeah, or
Yeah, white dwarf.
white dwarf is the low.
Yeah. Which pretty much means that the cloud blows away and it's just the core.
And
So
it's-
like the core of the star is sitting there and it's like it's pretty massive but it's not burning anything. It's just like a pretty much a big bundle of atoms all packed together real tight.
But it's like
hot.
dimly lit though.
Yeah,
it's
it's
hot.
it's a white dwarf.
Yeah.
So
So it's super hot.
yeah.
Still super hot compared to things.
It's
I
like
can
the
touch.
gas pressure makes it so hot because it's
Okay.
so densely packed together.
So what makes it still glow? White. I never really thought about that.
Is
the
it glowing?
temperature,
Oh, because it's just hot.
the gas pressure makes it really
Yeah.
hot.
Okay.
Think about it.
It's
like
still
a-
super hot. It's not
Yeah.
total. It's not.
Yeah, it's all the like most of the it's the core of the big ass star that we just had,
Right.
and
That was
the
way
cloud
hotter
just
than the
blew
outside.
away. So it's imagine the core of the sun without the cloud in it going
Okay.
around it. You know,
Interesting. Right. And the reason why the cloud happens is because it when it gets big enough, it crunches in and then kind of like blows
No,
off all its
that's
shit.
a supernova.
That's a supernova? How does it
A
planetary
white
nebula happen?
dwarf is the gravity can't hold it anymore. 'cause
Oh,
it's
so it just kind of
big.
blows away?
So all the gas blows away. That's in the like outer atmosphere of the star.
in the space wind.
Yeah.
Speak-
Yeah, I was gonna say blows away.
Yeah, can you
Yeah.
give us something? Because
Well, like
to my understanding, it's
Like
a
a
vacuum.
dandelion.
yeah, but like because the funny thing is that's actually how it happens. Like
No, solar winds maybe? Is it solar winds that kind of blow it
no,
away? No.
it's like
It's-
it's
is it-
just these like.
Am I right with
There's
space
always,
wind?
kind of, but
Is
it's
there
no,
just-
but it's like gravity. It's,
It's
not
a
really
nice
wind.
space breeze.
Because there's like always something massive.
Oh,
That's,
okay, so something else's gravity was like, nah, come here, and
Yeah,
it
pretty
got
much.
sucked into Saturn, whatever.
Yeah, exactly, something like that.
Yeah, but
happened
a
pretty
lot of
much.
other gravity from
Yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
things would just pull all the
Or
gas,
probably-
gas off.
Yeah,
So
pretty
less
outside
flown
our
off,
solar
more
system,
pulled
right?
off of the core.
Yeah, pulled off, but
It-
it's like the
okay.
way it looks. Is
So
it's,
we're
like,
back
blown
to
off.
weird
Well,
wordage.
dandelions.
It's
Yeah,
just-
exactly. But yeah, so that's a white dwarf.
Okay.
But when it comes to a supernova, it's because as the atoms are hitting into each other, they're making heavier elements. Once it gets to iron, because it's going to get there eventually if you keep smacking these things together. Once it
Iron's
gets,
really heavy. It's a big atom, a lot of protons.
yeah, it's like yeah, it's
You
it's,
don't tell
think
us that iron is heavy.
Iron's heavy.
Well,
New hot take on iron.
What I mean by heavy is a lot
Heavy.
of protons, though.
Yeah.
Like the atom itself is
Uh,
heavy. Sorry, that was probably real loud.
Yes.
New hot take on bottles hitting things. It's
Loud.
real loud.
Real loud.
But yeah, and then once iron fills up in there, there's so much pressure, like there's so much gravity in the center that the cloud collapses in on itself, but then the gas pressure pushes it back out like crazy fast, and it makes it pretty much a giant explosion.
Supernova, dude. Supernovas
Star
are the
explodes.
biggest explosions that we could fucking imagine. This
Crazy energy.
This is the highest mass stars in the universe, right? So we have our sun, super average, super big, right? These are the highest mass stars, and these stars are fucking exploding. And these stars are so fucking far away, and it still has like a crazy effect on our night sky. Like you'll see a supernova that there wasn't a star there at that one point. That's how luminous it gets.
Yeah.
You know what I
There'll
mean?
be like a dark spot in the sky that you always see.
Right.
Like they'll never see a star there ever.
Uh-huh.
Like say like you're just looking at it like
Till
from
it's
outside your
supernovas.
house, and then one night there will be like a decently sized star there, and then like 2 nights later there won't be there anymore.
Dude.
That's
And it'll
crazy.
be like a supernova. Actually, my astronomy professor almost discovered a supernova. It was like really cloudy, and he was like he was doing some sort of observation, and he was like, "Don't think I've ever seen a star there before." But like,
Imagine knowing the night sky that well.
and it got cloudy and shit, so he just like packed it in. He was like, "All right." And then the next day, an article came out how a guy discovered a supernova. So he actually saw it
He
and
did
could have like
notice some shit.
Could have
discovered the supernova, but someone else did it for him because it was too cloudy in Orienta.
That blows.
That does blow.
Yeah.
Man. But I can't get past, like, imagine, like, looking up at the stars and knowing the stars so fucking well. And, like, oh,
You're like, that's a
one right
suspicious dot in the sky. That was not there.
it wasn't there last
I
time.
looked at it yesterday.
Yeah.
Some
Fuck, man.
bullshit.
So, another thing to keep in mind.
Really quick, and what happened? I guess is it always like you say you use the measurement of 2 days? Is there a chance that one could have happened during essentially our daytime and we would have never seen it from where we
Depends
are?
Oh, well, like
I would
mean,
imagine if it was like on the other side of the Earth, then yeah.
well, I mean, the amount of light that it releases, it's not.
Is 2 days like the measurement? Like
No.
it's gonna be there for a set amount of time, and then it's not
think it
like more than a
depends.
day.
It
Essentially?
depends how much light gets released from the explosion, pretty much, because that's gonna hit our Earth, however long it takes for it to get here.
Yeah.
And then when it does get here, like that supernova happened millions of years ago.
Yeah.
But we
Isn't
just
that-
happen to see it tonight because that's how long the light took to get here.
Right.
Okay.
Isn't that weird? Like, so light has a finite speed we talked about, right?
Yeah.
It takes time for it to get here. So, like, when you see something light years away, that means that thing happened light years ago. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think I understand your question though.
Yeah.
does
No,
that
no.
Like, is
explosion
there-
happen
theoretically,
so
Is there a
quickly
Goldilocks
that we
area?
could miss it within
Yeah.
a span of like
I-
8 hours?
Like it could have just happened during our day cycle.
Right,
and
facing
There's
that
no
way.
point in even looking
Yeah.
up there.
I think, well, we also have different types of telescopes that could pick these things
I
up.
imagine
So maybe
looking out into
in,
space
in
doesn't
the
matter what time of
past, we
day.
probably missed shit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But in the present, like, we have telescopes that would pick up the
Yeah, because some of these explosions might be
the
like,
the type of particles that we sent this way from the supernova. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
telescopes look at light, not just visible light.
Right.
There can be like
Radio
Yeah,
telescopes.
radio telescopes.
Like
There's,
microwave telescopes.
Yeah, like ultraviolet telescopes. Well, like there's like infrared telescopes. So you can see how hot shit is in the sky. Well, like radio telescopes are for like really big things that aren't bright. Like we see a lot of black holes in radio telescopes.
What does that look like?
It's weird because there's no color. So it's just like bright spots. Like imagine looking at
I hate
like,
movies from
you
before
take a picture
the
of a
60s.
night sky and it's just like black and white, but like a lot more different spots than would be on like a regular picture of the night sky.
And that's detecting infrared. That you can't see
Well,
that it's
like radio. Yeah.
oh, radio though. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. It's like radio.
That
So-
was a radio telescope.
Jake was telling me, like, so when you need to measure bigger wavelengths, you need a bigger telescope, right? Like a different satellite dish to measure different wavelengths. And the biggest telescope that we have, we use the whole Earth as the dish,
Yeah.
right?
What?
For the radio
interferometry.
telescope. Yeah.
What is it called? I'm sorry.
Radio interferometry.
Jeez,
How does that work?
that's an easy
Want to
word.
explain? You explain it well.
Because if you know the distance between the like say the satellite dishes, well, like there's, but like the thing is, it's not even that. It's like, well, for this it is. But like there's this thing called the VLA. It's in the United States and it's called the Very Large Arrays. VLA.
Okay. Yeah,
Terrible at naming things inside.
BFG, son.
BFG.
Well, don't they have like very large telescopes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
they're not
very-
good with names.
Like they're like,
They don't-
yeah, look at all this science and
It's
math
fraud.
you just did. And they're like, what do you want to name it? You're like, I don't
Very
know.
large.
The fucking big satellite.
Yeah.
The FBSD.
But
Fucking
pretty
big
much,
satellite
if you
dog.
know the wavelength of light that you're trying to measure, and you know the distance between the telescopes you're using, like that you're pointing at the same spot in the sky, then you're able to combine all those telescopes to make one big telescope.
It's like triangulation.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But except like instead of trying to figure out like one point, it's like kind of opposite.
You get everything.
Yeah, so it's like you're making like a giant. I'm like moving my arms like they can see me.
Big
But,
old
like
thing.
they make like
Aw.
a giant
He
picture
He
or
does it
something.
constantly. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
It pretty much makes a giant picture of it.
Big old
Okay.
thing.
Yeah,
Sick.
we're doing it right now. Actually, look at the event horizon of the black hole in the center of our galaxy.
Nice.
How dope is that?
I
Are
did
people
see
like
an article.
doing work right now that
Yeah,
they're
they
freaked
could be
out
listening
about,
to
right?
this at some
They're
telescope.
freaking out right now, like, oh, there's some serious shit going on. And it's
Yeah.
like, you remember when Trump texted that Kofa VVV?
They're
He's
looking
like,
for
yeah, but we're gonna see an event horizon of a black hole tonight. I'm freaking out. Like,
Yeah, man.
I'm shitting.
That's what we're doing right now. Could you like?
Oh, they're probably also freaking out that they're going to lose all their funding. So.
Well, yeah, there's
That's
that.
true, too.
They're gonna take my sweet telescope
Alright.
away.
You gotta be like, but man, we're using the Earth to look at black holes, dude. Like
It's
the
the
whole Earth.
coolest.
That's
I
the
feel like-
coolest thing.
I feel
right?
like somebody could just be like, but it's really cool though, and Trump would be like, you know what?
Yeah,
It is pretty cool though.
Tell me again. Yeah, we're looking at event horizon.
There's no
black
one in
hole.
Does it give me
world.
jobs? Does it help the American
It's
people?
gonna there's gonna be
It
jobs.
sounds like a bad
Yeah,
deal.
we're gonna
It's
send
get better. Dude.
we'll send Americans into the black holes to see what happens. Just pay them some money. It'll be fine. I'd do it. Shoot me into a black hole. I ain't doing it.
All right, so we gotta talk about shooting James into a black hole because that's a whole like relativity thing we could do.
Yeah.
All right, but so fucking supernovas are crazy, huge fucking explosions,
Yeah.
right?
And there's so much energy and shit that it makes heavier elements. Like our sun was made from supernova because we know that there's a lot of gold and stuff in our solar system. Like there's a lot of gold in the sun if you want to go mine it.
I'm all about
Yo.
stealing
Let's go.
from my son.
So gold only could have been created in supernovas, in
So-
explosions of the biggest stars in
So
the
being
universe.
hype about gold for a while is like is fine. It's like yeah.
But like it's not even just gold. Like every heavy element,
Yeah.
anything other like the universe was all hydrogen and helium at one point.
Yeah.
And because
And then
of
stuff got
high
pressure
energy,
and
crazy
hot.
shit, and just stuff hit into each other makes heavier elements.
Oh, man.
So yeah,
That's pretty
all the
rad,
stuff
right?
that we know in like our whole lives was made
Was
because
at one point hydrogen and helium freaking out.
yeah, they were like, "Fuck, dude,
Smacking up, getting real hot.
smacking into people, getting
Yeah.
real hot."
Getting real hot.
Just two MMA fighters that are hitting each other and they start making out.
Dude, that is the best analogy for the strong force thing I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
good. Put that on your Pearson's cover.
Yeah,
It's
why is
like,
that not
stay
in the
away.
textbooks?
It's stay away. No, never leave.
McGregor slapping up somebody and then they start kissing.
I saw a comic that it explained the strong force kind of. It explained it like how
The same
college
way.
freshmen think love works.
Oh,
So like the protons are really far away and it's like, get away. And they get closer, it's like, get away. They get super close, they're like, get away. But then they touch and it's like, I love you. So if you're just annoying enough and you push hard enough, then that's...
I've discovered.
That's a
exactly how you
terrible
got your-
I was
idea.
gonna say I've discovered
Okay,
that
that's-
That was the comic.
and
That was
that's
what they
where
were
we're
saying.
encouraging rape.
Yeah, no,
Don't
let's
do
not
that.
Yes.
I was gonna
Don't
say
do that.
I've discovered that real love is very similar, but there's also a bell curve effect to that, where now it's like there was like the I love you, and now it's followed by get away.
Get away.
Get away.
Cheers.
Like,
That's probably nuclear. They could be radioactive decay.
Yeah, man.
yeah. Like, my girlfriend's nuclear. I'm pretty psyched
Hot
about
take:
that.
relationships are like
Or like
nuclear
giving
fission.
yourself a
radioactive.
relationship is literally giving you cancer.
Oh, writing a paper.
Escape.
You should write a paper.
Go to Vegas.
Go to Vegas.
Meet a stripper named Candy.
Not sponsored by Vegas.
Don't kill yourself in a hotel room.
Oh,
Sorry,
Alright.
very dark.
Think I
Moving
know.
on.
All right. So fucking supernovas, big explosions, whatever. Okay. Now, if there's not that much mass, so there's a lot already, but it's not enough for something to happen. It's still huge though.
Yeah, fuck it.
Then it becomes what we call a neutron star. Right?
Okay.
Well, like white dwarfs are pretty much neutron stars.
No, I think they're different. Aren't the white dwarfs the electron degeneracy pressure, and the neutron stars is like the collapse past that? Like you need more mass for it.
Well, yeah, but like it's
Neutron degeneracy.
Are they different things, or are they a next step in each other?
because a neutron star is small. It's just the core of the star that's left over.
That's white dwarf.
But also it's a neutron star too.
Isn't the neutron stars like real different though? Because like
I don't know.
I'm pretty
We
sure
didn't
they're
really do that. We were just like makes a neutron star, which I really.
Right.
Fuck, I don't care.
fucking dude. All right.
Same thing, different thing,
And
doesn't
these
matter. Good
things
luck.
fucking aren't they pulsars? The neutron stars spinning and shooting off the fucking
Yeah,
bursts.
fucking yeah.
Spin real quick.
Are
shoot
white
out.
dwarfs doing that as well?
No.
No.
White dwarfs are pretty like chill.
So they are different.
Yeah, they're
obviously,
very
they're different. They're not. Is one the next step in a cycle, or are they just different things?
That's what I'm thinking. I think the white dwarf collapses further into a
Neutron star.
neutron star.
That's if you have enough mass for it, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's where we're
Just
at.
pulling that. I like. Don't. I'm just.
So the
pulling
low
that
mass
really.
star will just
Can a
become a
neutron-
white dwarf, but a
Can you
high
get a
mass
neutron-
star, I guess. Oh, I see what you're saying. So
Yeah.
supernova, white dwarf, then neutron star.
No, so after a supernova makes a planetary nebula, and that's when more stars are made, pretty much. But like
Wait,
the
so
other way.
After a
is-
supernova, it becomes that thing that star factory, like that thing where the gas is now spinning around itself so much.
Yeah, exactly.
That so after a supernova, that
That's a
happens,
star
and then that
factory,
thing
pretty much,
makes stars.
Yeah. Dude,
Dang.
our
Is
sun...
that why there's so many stars? Because one star just exploded.
It made a whole bunch of
It
stars.
made a bunch,
Stars.
and then
Yeah.
those stars eventually got to a point where they're gonna explode and make a bunch of stars.
Yeah,
Dude,
but not
all
every
of
star
them.
explodes.
Our
A
sun...
lot of them.
Yeah.
Wait.
Our-
So some stars just burn out,
Yeah.
and if it burns out, it just becomes
Well,
a
there's like trillions of
black
stars.
dwarf or
So,
whatever you called it before.
Yeah,
So, and it just is just
that's
the,
like a like,
the,
so like
the
our sun
core
was,
that's not burning anymore.
yeah,
It's
like
done.
our sun was painfully average. John said. Is that what you said?
aggressive.
Aggressively average.
painfully average.
Just no.
that's
Once again, are you describing me?
aggressively average.
Satisfactory.
I'm,
So, yeah,
I'm
there's like-
aggressively painfully average.
There's like some real small stars that are just gonna like die and not know nothing.
And they're-
People
but-
not gonna be like, I can't even see it. Just
So do you have to be
bundle it up.
incredibly massive to then be
Yeah.
supernova and then
Yes.
become one of those?
Incredibly
Like
massive.
our star would not.
No, our star is just gonna get really big and then shrink back again.
In reference, how much bigger would our sun have to be?
How many
to
of our
supernova?
suns?
Oh, fucking... I think thousands of our suns.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure thousands of our suns is when you start
How
getting into the
aggressively
point-
average? Are we less than average? Are we below
No, we're
average?
very average. We're very average.
Okay, there's a bunch of stars like our stars.
Yeah.
If our sun was more massive,
I think if you
Then
have
it would.
1,000 solar masses, when you get getting up to that range, is when you start getting into this high mass stuff.
But
So you-
like in the frame of reference, we're not even close.
We're not even close.
Yeah.
Our star is going to
Dude,
get big
think
and then
well,
shrink
like,
and then.
from like a non-astronomical frame of reference, we're not even close.
Right.
We could have been like, if our star had like, a few thousand more kilograms, it'd be cool. Like it would explode, but
It's not like 1,000 to the 1046 or whatever. It's just that like
it's not
1,000 to
incredibly
10.
large.
It's just
but,
like 1,000 more.
yeah.
It's not like
Just a few thousand.
it's not a million to a billion.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
We also have like these numbers. These numbers only make sense relative to like star numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you know
It's
what I'm
one of
saying?
those 10 to
So,
the
like-
whatever to
Right.
another 10 to the whatever. Yeah.
Reference of other stars, and that's it.
Right.
How many extra zeros am I missing?
You need
From-
1,000 suns. I'm pretty sure. I'll double check on that. So our sun is fucking huge, and you need
Yeah.
1,000 of
I
them.
need a 1,000 fucking
And
huger
just
things.
smash some shit together.
Smashing.
Yeah. All right.
Becky.
So neutron stars are so fucking packed together that how much does a spoonful weigh? Take a spoonful of a
Like
neutron
3
star.
tons or something like
Yeah,
that?
dude, a spoonful. It's so packed. It's so dense that a spoonful will be that
Of
much.
gas?
Of the neutron star.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Clumped
it pretty
out.
much is gas.
It's gas.
Yeah. Well, no, wouldn't it?
What's heavy gas?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Is it just heavy gas because it's
Just-
really packed tight?
Yeah, because that's all
It's
gravity
just
is.
essentially
That
just
many atoms
packed tight
packed
weighs a lot.
tight together, you
Yeah,
can imagine.
Weighs a lot.
But
Man,
then
cigarettes are cooler. Like now that I think about it, 'cause I think I'm gonna get a pack later. Starting today. We'll talk about it in like
we
3
go.
weeks. See what's going down.
Not sponsored by
Camel.
Camel.
Sponsored by whoever. We got Newports.
Fucking. All right. I think we're ready to talk about black holes. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right.
Because the neutron
So-
star,
That's the last step.
yeah, neutron star is so dense, so massive, and it keeps just shrinking in on itself to the point where the force of gravity of that star is greater than the speed of light.
So like you can't go fast in there.
The light doesn't even escape it anymore.
So like
Because
goes
it's-
in and don't come out.
Like the force of gravity is so strong that the acceleration. What do you mean? Like
Are you saying that black holes do produce light, but the pull of gravity is so strong that it doesn't escape?
yeah, exactly.
And light that goes past it goes in there?
What?
Yeah. Well, but like when
Like
you
that
see a
would go
black
past
hole,
it?
you're seeing the stuff that's behind it that's being gravitationally lensed by it. Like pretty much the light rays coming from the stuff behind it is bending around it, so you can see that there's obviously something there. Yeah. And at the event horizon, like I was saying, there's a lot of energy from like shit that's about to get swallowed up and like already did that's getting released back out. And sometimes black holes spit shit out. We don't know why.
So I want to ask you a couple of questions. I want to ask you a couple of questions that, if you don't know the answer, that's fine because they're totally year based. When did we theorize and when did we see one? And how close are they?
James, great questions. Great questions. So,
because I think that's my favorite thing about science is that a lot of times you go, I bet that's the thing,
and then
it's a thing.
Right.
It's
Isn't
like
that
getting
crazy?
better than weathermen.
Right.
I feel like we've definitely theorized it before we discovered
haven't really, like, we're working on observing black holes now.
it. Yeah.
Well, we're looking at an event horizon in one, aren't we?
Well, we know what they are, and we know that physically they exist. But we've never really observed one.
Because
But
think about
nobody's
it.
ever touched one.
They're the
so we're
perfect-
only thinking that this matches
Yeah.
like what it should be doing theoretically if it was a black hole,
Right.
and it matches what we're seeing.
Yes.
So we're
Yeah.
saying it's a black
Right.
hole, but nobody's ever actually been there and been like, boop, it's a black hole.
Tested,
Yeah.
right.
So we don't
Throw
really
ping pong
know.
balls.
Right,
at it.
right.
Exactly.
Just like I think my car's in the driveway,
Right.
but I'm not.
Yes,
standing
and you
in front
want to get that margin of error down. The black hole's like the perfect thing that's like hard to observe because it sucks up all the fucking light. So how do you even
There's
go
so
about
much
observing
gravity.
it? Right.
There's so much mass in this little spot that everything around it just starts shooting into it.
Right. So let me explain like what a black hole is.
Wait, can we quickly get back to?
Okay.
Do we know when we theorized about
I think
this?
it was
Early
so
1900s.
early 1900s is when Einstein came out with general relativity.
Yeah.
And then people worked with Einstein's relativity to theorize that a thing called black holes could exist. I think that wasn't that crazy name Krishana-Shaker? Krishana-Shaker?
I think it was like 1910,
Krishana-Shaker.
I want to say.
No, I think
1911?
when did general relativity come out? I thought that was after.
1906.
Oh
Pretty
yeah.
sure. No, 1915 didn't it come out?
I think it was later then. Like 1905 was like 3 big papers Einstein did, but I don't think it was general relativity. I think that was later. So general relativity came out, and then Krishana-Shaker. I think it's CH. Look up black holes. CH. Black hole CH. I think
Just
it's
look
called.
up who discovered black holes.
That's
Who
probably
theorized
actually a
black holes.
better way to look
Man,
it
you're
up.
so bad at interneting.
Fucking. So I'm pretty sure the story goes. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the story goes that this dude was on a boat, right? Fucking going
Okay, really
somewhere.
quick.
Yeah.
Objects whose gravitational fields are too strong for light to escape were first considered in the 18th century by John Mitchell and Pierre Simon Laplace.
Okay. Laplace, dude.
And in 1916, the first modern solution of general relativity that would characterize a black hole was found by Carl Schwarzschild.
Yeah.
Schwarzschild
it was
in
Schwarzschild.
1916.
Then what did Krishana-Shaker do?
He's not even here yet.
Okay.
When did he exist?
Keep going. It was coming.
Okay, in 1916, that's Carl Schwarzschild.
Schwarzschild radius.
Yeah, that's what. Like when I was saying how the sun had to be the size of a tennis ball to be
That's
Yeah.
the it has the
black hole.
crunch
That
past
was
the
that's
Schwarzschild radius.
Any
yeah.
farther than that, it'd turn into a black hole.
I don't know if it was really considered because it does then follow with, although its interpretation as a region of space from which nothing can escape was first published by David Finkelstein in 1958. So like it may have just been like a
Right.
yeah, it's possible.
So Laplace had this thought, like maybe something could be so massive that light can't escape. That was like probably the first time
Well, I feel
that he
like
thought of black
Mitchell
holes.
did that, and he was like, "Yo, Laplace, do this math for me because
Right.
that shit's hard."
Yeah. That shit's hard. But then later on, they used general relativity, our best explanation for gravity, to later like mathematically prove these things to exist.
Gravitational lensing.
Yeah, dude,
That's what a black
that's an
hole is.
Einstein
That's
ring.
essentially what it was. So considering this is a listening podcast, we're kind of looking at what a simulation looks like. It kind of looks like a hole in a photograph being dragged across a yellow line,
It's just crazy.
which is super hard to imagine.
So-
Wikipedia black holes, it's there.
What black holes are is like you have so much mass that basically nothing that we know of could hold it up. There's nothing that could structurally hold this thing up, right? Because the reason why we have structure is because of electromagnetism, right? Holding it out.
Is that the name you're looking for?
Yes, that's it. Isn't that
Subramanian Chandrasekhar.
Chandra? That was really good.
Can
Can you make him? Can you make
Chandrasekhar?
Can you make Google say it? Chandrasekhar? Crash
Ooh,
Chandrasekhar.
Chandrasekhar is probably right.
Chandrasekhar, what the fuck?
Sorry. Subramanian Chandrasekhar.
No, it's Subramanian Chandrasekhar.
No, dude.
Chandrasekhar.
That
no, I
CH
think
is
you win.
definitely a should. No, it's not
All right,
No,
don't say it.
Actually, if it's Indian, I think you're right. Yeah.
Chan?
This guy.
As
No,
opposed to
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's Sean.
Chandrasekhar. Weird names, man. So fucking nothing we know of could hold up this much mass. So it collapses. All this mass collapses to an infinitesimal point.
To our greatest knowledge.
To our greatest knowledge. But then there's a lot of other kinds of black holes, like the spinning ones and this like soft
Yeah,
black
fuck that.
holes.
That's too much.
Dude, sometimes they spin. I don't know why.
Because everything spins.
Fuck,
shit's
man.
spinning.
So yeah, like so light is affected by gravity, right? And you kind of have to just
It's
no.
like, but it's like not.
it's so energy mass is energy because E equals mc squared. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, energy is mass. They're equal, right? So light doesn't have mass, but it has energy, so it's going to be affected by gravity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, black holes eat it because
Right.
their gravity is super good.
Yeah.
Super
But like when light passes around it,
Gravity's
it'll
so
bend
good.
it around. That's why you get those weird ring patterns. Or you can even look up Einstein crosses where you have like crazy patterns too from the
light even bends around like the Earth and shit. Just
Yeah.
like by a degree that's so small that you
just
don't
not
even
much,
notice.
right?
Doesn't
Exactly.
matter. It's
But like that,
Diffraction.
imagine like there's so much gravity that it bends like this.
Yeah.
Like we see that in the sky, like
So
if
any
the
amount of
cross is like
gravity-
this, like we'll see something over here and then it'll be over here.
Yeah.
And that's because of gravitational lensing.
So, yeah,
Doesn't
so
doesn't that happen during eclipses? Like
Yeah.
not.
That's how we
the
first.
gases
That's how we
from the
prove
sun,
general
but
relativity.
Like we can see stars slightly change position that are like behind the sun.
Yeah, that's how we prove general
Interesting.
relativity. There was a solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse, and everybody was like running to look at it with a telescope. 'Cause that's the only time you look at the sun with a telescope.
Yeah.
And they were trying to see how much the light was bent, and they had to know because like classically it's 2, like a factor of 2, but general relativistically it's a factor of 4. So they had to get the measurements of the gravitational lensing, and then some guy had to figure out all the math from it, and then
Wow.
they had to tell them if general relativity worked or not.
some really stressed out guys.
Yeah.
Factor 2, factor
I gotta make
4.
up math.
And
I think
gotta
pretty much- I
observe
think
this
actually
really fucking quick.
There was like
For
a
real.
whole meeting about when he was going to say that if it was a factor of 2 or 4, like if general relativity worked, and it wasn't even done yet. Like he was in his office still.
Oh my god.
Shit. Imagine.
Oh god, this is just a group of
it's
people
starting in
writing
10 minutes and I'm
we
not
got-
ready
all
yet.
right, we got to write a thing about whether or not general relativity works. All
Wow.
right, you write if it doesn't. Just be
Yeah.
like, be really positive. We got to figure something out.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Science has got to work.
Everyone else is in the hall placing bets, calling their bookies.
Yeah,
What's he
it's
gonna
like
say?
an election. They're
Right,
planning
yeah.
their,
So
speeches
as
and
far as totally. As far as we know, general relativity survived every test. It came out as a factor of 4.
Kicking
Right?
ass.
He did.
Kicking ass, dude. General relativity's rocking it out there.
Dude,
what's fucked up
so
about
we
general
currently
relativity?
don't believe in. There's no general thought as to how things work that would go against our idea of general relativity. Nothing works in a way
Black
where
holes
like
break it though.
black holes.
That's the black holes are the problem.
Kind of break it. Like
Oh yeah, it's not
Quantum
that it
physics.
breaks it, it just
Yeah.
doesn't predict it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't it's not that it's incompatible, it's just like it arrives like we're like that's what Sean was trying to figure out, how quantum small stuff relates with general relativity, the big stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I really remember from that episode is that like what the fuck was the word? Damn it! I think it all day. It's just like it's like what is the one thing we need to remember? And it's that blank is not true. The D word.
D word?
Yeah.
D word's not true.
Distance.
Determinism.
Determinism is false.
Determinism.
That's all I remember about science.
Fuck man. That was a cool conversation.
And that one thing I remembered earlier.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, great
remember
job.
those 2 things.
That's good.
That's all I remember.
That's good. We're learning. We're getting there.
Determinism.
Determinism.
Fucking
All
false.
day. Fucking
You're
okay.
deterministic. Shut up.
So fucking what should we explain what general relativity is
No.
real quick?
That's
One day
Can you
we'll
do a
have to-
2-sentence summary?
we will.
It's the bending of space-time.
It's the fabric of space. It's a mathematical equation that describes the 3-dimensional fabric of space. Like if there's like a 3-dimensional graph, you can press graph on like a computer and it'll just be like a sheet pretty much. And this equation explains like the sheet of our universe.
Right. And how it could fucking bend.
Yeah.
Gravity, like the reason why gravity is a thing is because it's bending space-time. It's changing how space-time
Like imagine
is.
a bowling ball on a trampoline.
Yeah. It
That's pretty much
changes
what the sun is, and we're a
contour.
ball, like a marble that you flick around and it rolls around it. Or like those things at the mall where you
Yeah.
put in the coin.
That
and it
was
rolls
really
around.
friggin' strong. It's a
Yeah.
bowling ball and marbles.
Mhm.
All right, good.
Good.
So,
So,
so
black
general
hole-
relativity is the idea that the bowling ball sinks the trampoline.
Yes. Very good.
Yeah.
That's the simplest we can get on it.
Yes.
A black hole is, imagine you have the same trampoline and you
should
poke a
cut a
little
hole
hole
in
and
it.
tie like a
And you
dope
fucking
knot and you
dope.
pull it. And it's just a really deep, small
Dude,
hole
like a
in
half hitch.
general
It's got to be a fucking dope knot.
Dude, the sun's bending space-time right now. Imagine you keep packing the mass into a smaller and smaller point. It's gonna keep bending until it's like fucking.
Bro, that knot is lit.
That dot is lit,
You gotta have a
dude.
good knot to do that.
You need a good knot.
It's gonna be a good knot. It's good knot for the black hole. In
All right.
trampoline.
So, do you want to talk about shooting James to a black hole? What would
Shooting.
happen with the time
Shooting
dilation and
shit.
stuff?
We can do it.
Don't fucking quote
And-
Cosmos.
Oh, I
dare
can't
you.
wait. Okay,
I dare you.
This'll be. Oh yeah, we're not gonna go
Yeah,
fast.
I'll kick your
Okay.
ass.
Fucking. So listen. So it bends space time, right? So remember how we talked about in special relativity, like time gets weird when you start going fast. Time also gets weird when you're in a strong gravitational field, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, fucking crazy. Clocks like in remember we brought it up at one point. Clocks in planes tick
A bit slower.
slower
Yeah.
than clocks on Earth, or faster.
The higher you up and the faster you're going, the slower.
Slower.
you get.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So higher up, further away from the gravitational field. That's what it does. All right. So
But that was just because they were moving too.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's more the gravitational field than they're moving. How fast do they move? No, it's not. They're not moving anywhere near the speed of light to change.
No, they're moving at
No,
like
but
400
they
miles
took
per hour.
atomic clocks on airplanes
Yeah.
and they flew opposite ways around the Earth.
Uh-huh.
And because of how fast the plane, they're going like a few hundred miles an hour.
500-ish.
That little
5-6.
made the atomic clocks were able to pick up like the crazy
Oh.
little bit of
Yeah,
seconds
it's
that
like
were different
time
between
dilation
going.
or something, right?
Yeah,
John?
through time dilation.
We got
Yeah.
one. Thanks. So that was more for the speed, not the gravitational field.
Yeah.
Interesting. But can't we also measure
Well, he
atomic
wouldn't.
clocks on the ground and up in the sky?
Yeah.
And notice a difference too.
That's
Yeah.
because of gravitational.
Right. Okay, so fucking we can measure it with just the Earth gravitational field. So black holes have a super strong gravitational field. So imagine we have a spaceship, right? And we're chilling, and we shoot James out of the spaceship into the black hole. So you're in space, heading out towards the black hole, right? As do you
Well,
want to
like,
explain it?
What do you want? Do you want us to tell you what you would see or what we would see? Do you, like,
I guess we
Both.
should start with me.
all
Let's
right.
see what James sees.
If you were shot into a black
I
hole
was shot into a black hole.
and you were looking at the spaceship,
Mhm.
it would get farther and farther away, and it would be like speeding up in whatever direction it was going.
Away from
So, like, say it was like flashing a light. It was like a pulsing headlight we had on our
Yeah.
spaceship.
No, it was set to flash
It would
once
start-
every 3 seconds.
Yeah, it would flash a lot faster that you would see that because time is moving faster for you. And then all the once you pass the event horizon of a black hole, theoretically, all the light from the universe and that will ever be in the universe shrinks into one point, and like you'll see everything in one point, like all the light that ever is going to happen in the universe.
For like everywhere.
So like you'd be able to predict the future pretty much if you could theoretically see.
But it's
something
only a
in this
point of light, though.
Yeah. So this point of light is just hitting
So-
you.
I
So-
have a question. If you went feet first into a black hole,
Yeah.
would your feet die? Would the
Well,
cells in your feet die before the impulses reach
we
your
gotta
brain?
talk
First
You
of
about-
all-
know that it died.
First of all,
is it even dead or is it just different?
Can we
it would
talk
be
about?
spaghettification.
Yeah, we gotta talk about spaghettification.
Okay,
That's what that's
episode
called.
of the title: Spaghettification and bullshit.
How terrible is that name?
No, it's so
No.
fucking good. It's
But
my
it's the
favorite name.
best I've ever heard.
So do you turn into spaghetti?
Your
No.
body gets stretched out pretty
Yeah.
much
Right.
because
So-
your feet are feeling stronger gravity than your head. That's how strong the gravity is. That just like from your feet to your head, there's a crazy difference. That's how like deep the slope is.
Hmm.
So like the closer you
Well, so
get
it
to
gets
it,
way deeper than that too.
yeah, exactly. It never touches zero. Like like the so it's
When
like
when you stand up on Earth, like you have a very small difference between the gravity of your feet and your head because your feet are closer to the Earth, and when you're closer, you have more gravity, right? But black holes have such a strong gravitational field that from your feet to your head, you have such a huge difference that your feet get stretched and pulled more than your head does, and that's where that spaghettification comes from.
so yeah,
You're
that
getting
wouldn't be
elongated.
comfortable. That would kill you.
No, yeah,
Would
but
it hurt?
Comfortable.
I mean, you'd probably die.
Well, yeah,
But
like-
also, you would die from all the microwave radiation that's happening from.
There's a lot going on the way to the black
Okay.
hole.
You would never make it even close.
no, to the black hole.
Unfortunately.
Even with a really rad like suit.
All right, so let's put him in a really rad suit.
I mean,
that
a rad
is-
suit that beats all the radiation.
So what
bullshit.
happens at the event horizon? What is it? What happens at the event? Why is it called the event horizon?
Because that's the point at which light stops escaping.
The surface, right?
So like imagine the slope that we're talking about, like how the big difference. At that point, it's so strong that light can't escape.
yeah. And if you look, so like you're looking at the event horizon, right? Now you stick your head like right in front of it, and you look off to the side. The way light is moving around this event horizon, like right outside it, you'll see the back of your head
Yeah.
if you look out this way.
That's the bullshit.
Right? Because the way the light is fucking going around, like this, the very edge of the event horizon, you could see around the black hole.
Yeah.
To the back of your head.
But then once you get in the event horizon, you wouldn't be able to see out, and that's when all the light would.
So now you're a
Vaporize you
pretty. I
pretty
don't
much.
want you vaporized. That's good. You're spaghettified.
Spaghettified, vaporized,
Microwaved, all of
fried,
it.
microwaved.
But no matter how fast you were going into it, the first point of view that crosses over the event horizon, that's just gone.
Yeah. Well, like I mean, it's not gone, but
Just
the light that's
disassembled?
like you only see things because the light reflects off of it.
Yeah.
So light, you wouldn't see it anymore. Like to you, it doesn't exist, but it's still.
Right,
part
but
of
how
your body.
gradual? I imagine there has to be a. Well, maybe there's not. But when you cross the event horizon, is the force of gravitational pull over distance that much greater as soon as you cross that line, or is it gradual?
The event, it's still gradual. The event horizon's
Still gradual,
only
yeah.
that point where light can't escape anymore.
Gotcha.
It's not like a big. The only thing like that mathematically, that just works out to be that light can't escape anymore.
So there's just a whole
Across.
bunch of. There's still a whole section of
Yes.
black hole that you're already dead before you got to that.
Like you
point.
can, it's called the escape velocity. You can calculate how fast something has to. Like that's how we get rockets off the Earth. It has to go a certain amount. It has to go fast enough
escape the gravitational
to escape
field.
the gravitational force of the Earth. Exactly. So you can calculate just by just knowing the mass. So if you know the mass of a black hole, you'll know how big it is because that's how far you. Well, that's how fast you have to go for light to escape.
Right.
So once it's, once there's enough mass to the point where light can't escape, then it's a black hole. You know what I'm saying? So and there's a certain
Punched past that
radius
point, yeah.
to which that happens. Like we'll know the exact radius where that happens.
So all that horrible stuff happens, right? You cross into the event horizon, and like we don't really know what happens next, right?
No.
You would just probably collapse in on that point of mass, unless you're,
Or
I
you
guess,
could go to a different dimension.
or maybe. I know some ideas say that you
John
pop
doesn't
out
believe
in a white hole. You pop out in a white hole somewhere.
Huh.
Yeah.
That
Like there's black holes and white holes.
Is that a theory?
How real is that?
Anything could be a theory.
No.
We,
could be a
we have so
wormhole.
little
You
understanding
can
of
like
it.
show up in like a different time.
An idea,
time in our
yeah.
universe.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of shit.
Like the whole idea of it
Once
is.
it gets to a point where we don't know, we can just make up fucking anything.
Yeah, it's true.
What's your favorite?
That like the favorite is they show up in a different part of the universe. That's pretty dope. Could you imagine just getting a
Yeah.
black hole and you spit out like somewhere else?
I think like most likely.
Interstellar, that happens. You ever seen
Yeah.
that movie?
It's true.
Movie's crazy.
No, I did not.
God. At the beginning of this episode, when we started talking about black holes and shit, I was like, fuck, I really want to place a bet on who brings up Interstellar first.
Sponsored by Interstellar.
And it actually
But I
has
really
one of the best modern day representations of what a black hole would look like if you were that close to it.
Eh?
Yeah, it's check it out.
And they just fly into it like it's no big deal. It's like,
On our
and
way
their
in,
shit
right.
shakes like crazy, and then they get spit out in another part of the solar system. Well, the universe, I mean.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, we can live in this planet.
Right.
But
Rad.
they can't.
They did some weird stuff
Alright.
with like time
Don't
though.
tell me anymore.
Alright,
I
yeah.
wanna see it.
You should say check it out. It's crazy.
Check out Interstellar.
Yeah, not 100% scientifically accurate, but they do some good. They do some things well.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
so
like they're cool with the time dilation too,
Yeah.
because like they come back in the future and stuff like that. Because yeah.
fucking. All right.
Spoilers.
How much of that do we got to cut?
All right. So fucking, like, really, all we know is that it collapses into like an infinitesimal point. So like to say that it pops out somewhere else is kind of a stretch, I feel like. But like a way you could think about it is like
It's
if
ripped.
you fold a piece of paper, right? Like you could fold a 2-dimensional piece of paper 3-dimensionally, right? Does that make sense? So like if you lived in 2 dimensions and you folded through the 3rd dimension, like it doesn't make any sense to you, right? But if you fold this paper, then one end is touching the other end. So essentially you could pop out of existence on one end and pop into existence on the other end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now 3-dimensionally bending into a higher dimension, if you believe into that, like that's like how you would explain the black hole, white hole business.
Like imagine we're living on the piece of paper and we bend it like that and make a hole on one side, a hole on the other side, and you just go to the other side.
Yeah.
This is some fucking Stranger Things shit right here.
Is it? Did they talk about that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Was the upside
Once
down?
again,
or
let's
whatever?
not get too.
Yeah.
Let's not get too.
Think of like a Mobius. You know what a Mobius strip is?
Stranger
it's in
Thing is
Sonic.
real.
No. So take a strip of paper, just twist it once, and then connect the ends. You know what I'm saying? So you have like a band, but there's a twist in it on one end, right? And if you live in 2-dimensional world and you try to walk the band, you would start in one area, but then you would walk and you would twist through the 3rd dimension, but you wouldn't know. You're just walking forward. And you'll end up back where you started, but you're on the other side of the strip. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
It totally makes sense.
All
I
right.
do
We got
like
way
that.
off topic. So fucking, you crossing the event horizon, and that's all well and good for you. But let's
Because
explain.
think about all the gravity that's there. It's like pretty much giving you all the light from like ever, pretty much. It's a very terrible explanation. I'm sure
But
someone can
I
explain it
guess
better.
it's the best we
but
can get considering
Explain what we
don't
see
really
of
know.
James, though.
Considering I'm ripped and it's midnight. And I
Besides,
haven't talked about this stuff in a little while.
besides spaghettification and the radiation and stuff, what do we see of James when he's going in the black hole?
He would drift towards the black hole, you know, looking all nice. And then you would eventually get to the
would
event horizon and just stop.
Aggressively average. I
Yeah.
would stop at
You
the
would
end.
slow down. You would slow down. Like we would see that you would keep slowing down, and then as soon as you got to the event horizon, you would just stop, and then eventually you would just fade away.
Because the light, you would stop in the event
'Cause of the
horizon, and the
gravity.
light from you would just fade away.
Yeah, the gravity that's affecting the light that's reflecting off you that we're seeing would just get to the point where it just doesn't get to us anymore, and then you would just fade away out of existence.
Bye.
Into the ether.
Yeah.
Wouldn't time kind of stop for him too?
Yeah.
Or stretch out or something?
So
That's why black holes are weird, because technically we should never get to the event horizon with how time dilation works.
right.
It's an
It would
asymptotic
take
slope with-
infinite time to get to the event horizon from an outside perspective. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I
Black
couldn't
holes
even
is
shoot a super red camera.
No way.
No.
Nope.
And not to get the results back. It would be unobservable.
Yeah.
We could do it,
We could stream it.
but we
though.
would get nothing from it.
Yeah, we'd just be shooting some at it and get nothing
And
back.
what is
Well, I mean, we
mean-
would get something from shooting shit into it. Like,
Well,
we would learn something.
We would never get anything back from
Yeah,
it.
well, we could watch it. We could prove
No,
that what you said is true. We have not shot something into a black hole now.
But we're looking at the
We have an
tip
idea
of
as
it
to
right
what would
now.
happen if
the
we
next,
shot one in there.
so like these are really heady ideas, right? These like theoretical stuff we could observe.
Yeah,
it.
this is all
But-
like
Really heavy.
But listen, the only like this is where we are with sending shit places. We just I think okayed a trip to send a probe to the sun. We've never done that before.
Some might get mad and hit back.
Some might get mad, hit back. So we're sending a probe to the sun. So like we're not even anywhere near sending probes to black holes.
well,
what I'm
also
saying?
like the closest black hole
It's
is
really fucking far away.
far as fuck.
So like light
would-
years away.
Just for like we would have to travel the speed of light for it to be any sort of useful. To
And
get
it's-
sent back and
How
forth.
long would it take us to get something to the sun?
A long time.
8 minutes. Well, if it's
No,
traveling
no,
at the
no,
speed of
It's
light.
speed- no, that we could shoot at the sun.
Oh, then not. It would take like a few years. Like we shot probes at
Put it-
Saturn, and we're there's a probe orbiting Saturn that I think we shot in like the 90s. And it's like at Saturn now.
Just got there. You ever hear of Voyager?
Yeah.
So early probe that we sent out to the edge of we sent out or whatever. We launched back when like Sagan was around. I think it was in the 80s that we launched it or 70s. We launched it a long time ago, and we launched this probe, and it like recently within the last few years just left the solar system. Just left.
Just-
So it takes a fucking long time.
What do we count as leaving the solar system?
Great question.
The
So
Oort
like
cloud,
the
right?
interstellar medium, changes between. Interstellar medium changes between the edge of our solar system and then the rest of the universe and the rest of the galaxy.
It's pretty much whichever we like say the edge of our solar system is the edge of the gravity that our sun has.
Yeah.
Like there's
But,
just
like-
there's this thing called the Oort cloud where there's just like really small like asteroids and meteors and stuff just orbiting around our sun. But then like that's what it would look like if you zoomed out from our solar system. It would get to a point where it'd just be like a cloud of a whole bunch of bullshit that our sun is holding on to. And then after that, it's the next closest star. Then we would see like that Oort cloud too. That's pretty much what it would look like if you were looking at space from really far away.
If you had a big, like,
So
big
the edge of our
ass
solar
peak,
system is the edge of where the gravity of our sun.
Yeah.
But like to us, the edge of our solar system is Pluto. Like that didn't get anywhere close to the edge of our Oort cloud.
And Pluto's not a thing anymore.
So I have a question. Are all the images that we've seen of like our solar system and the Milky Way galaxy like a slice through the middle? Like is the Milky Way galaxy long and flat, or is it a big circle?
It's a spiral.
It's relatively flat.
relatively
Really?
flat. Yeah.
Like actually, the whole universe is relatively flat.
What does relatively mean?
Meaning that like if you put cardinal directions on it, for some reason, there's not a lot of whole shit going these ways.
Yeah, it's not three-dimensional.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was flat in the sense of like the curvature of space time.
Yeah,
But that's how
and
it's
that's-
flat. Like not flat like in 2 dimensions, but flat in 3 dimensions, if that makes sense.
It's like a big rectangle.
As isn't like were they trying to figure out? I could be wrong.
It's like
I
an
think they were trying
alligator.
to figure out like if space time itself was curved or not, and we found that it's not curved, so it's like a flat, but it's like still 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
It's like
You
a
know what I'm
ladder if you knock it over.
I could be wrong though. Like that's what that's
It's
the way I
flat in
interpret
3
it.
dimensions.
Yeah, it's
It's
flat
like
in
a
3
car.
dimensions. It's like so a piece of paper if you held it straight would be flat in 2 dimensions, but then you bend it up and now it's not flat in 2 dimensions anymore.
So it's
So it's like curved, like
Yeah.
like our
But
universe,
it's-
not here
so-
to here across
So
point to
it
point.
could be
even.
like a circle,
Yeah.
like a just
Wait.
a big sphere, like
So-
a perfectly uniform sphere.
Gotcha.
is this the headiest question in the world? Is there a point where you get around? Like,
We don't know. We
we have-
still theorize that like what would happen if you go to the edge of our observable universe? We just pop out on the other side.
I mean, is the
And
universe
we don't know.
Pac-Man?
The reason why we have an edge of
exactly.
the observable universe is that point in space, it takes light to light would never get to us because it would take longer than the age of the universe to get to us.
Yeah.
That
Well,
makes sense?
no, the
Right?
light that's out there took longer than the age of the universe to get there.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the Big Bang, like
So the light's
our
not there yet.
observable universe is
Is-
14.2 billion light years.
Yeah.
Because that's
Is
how far
the
light
edge
travels
of
in a
the
year.
first
Yeah.
second that we're finally seeing
Right.
this light reach us for the
Observable
very
universe.
first time.
It's not what we have observed; it's what we can potentially observe.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Dang.
Dang.
So, is there stuff past the observable?
Who knows, man? That's one of the.
Infinity.
Is it likely that there's stuff past the observable?
Literally, dude, your guess is as good as like anybody's.
You hot take. There's totally not anything else.
Nothing.
Cheese.
There could be. We could just be
No.
like
Lots of
space just
voodoo.
could just be just a bunch of blackness, and we're just
And looks
getting
it out.
bigger in that
Oh.
blackness.
What's it up?
What's it out?
So much was it?
So
Oh, jeez.
wait, I want to talk about Voyager one more time, real quick.
Star Trek?
Bring it
No,
back.
no. Voyager, the probe that we sent out.
Oh, yeah.
Can I tell you what we put on
Is that what you were
Voyager?
talking about before?
Yeah. The thing that left the solar system, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So we put something really cool on the Voyager. It's a record made of gold. It's a golden record. And on this record, we put a few things. Like there's images on the record that kind of shows where we are in the solar system, like where we are in the universe based on pulsars. Like we triangulate our spot on Earth based on like set points in the universe, right? So we're just trying to show whoever finds this where Earth was or is, right? And also on this record, there's instructions on how to play the record, right? In pictures. Like imagine you're trying to describe this to something or someone
You
that
need
has
to
no
describe it
language, right?
universally.
Yeah. Describing
Everyone's
universally
gotta
how to
get it.
play a record.
Something without like physical mass. It's like,
Yeah.
What the fuck do I do with this thing? I don't have. What are these? What are those? Would you call them hands? I don't got
So
those.
So if they play the record, whoever fucking finds it, if they play the record,
That's
they'll
fucked up.
hear
Right?
Someone could get that. It'd be like a fucking fish
I
person.
can't
You're like, what the
do
fuck? Like,
anything.
he was like,
we
what the
got.
fuck
We
is
have
this shit?
intelligent life. We have space travel.
That's life is.
I can't do anything with this.
I just really hope that it's like pictures and arrows to go from picture to picture, but they can't figure out the arrows. Like they realize
What are these fucking or like what if Japanese people do the same thing but they write like right to left? They're like, what are we gonna?
It's the whole thing.
Like,
But think about that. Like,
we're
how
in
do
a
you
circle.
communicate in symbols when like you don't even have that much in common? You're not even sure. But whatever.
Yeah, we don't even
So,
know if arrows work.
When and if
What the fuck is an arrow? That's their Hitler sign. Is their like that's their swastika?
Yeah, they
Like,
destroyed
these-
them. Like, this is
No,
terrible.
all right, where are they? We know where they fucking are now.
yeah, let's fucking
Fuck them up.
here we go.
Zap.
Done.
Sorry, yeah.
Those idiots.
There are a lot of scientists that are like that talk about the fact that maybe we shouldn't be fucking
Arming
like,
our enemy with
like
information.
yo, we're over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I'm completely against aliens. I
You know-
bet they exist. They're
Right.
definitely the enemy.
You know what's interesting to think about? Fucking
Freaks.
radio. Radio started in the fucking early 1900s, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Early 20th century.
Yes, early 20th century radio started. Radio waves are light waves. Remember we learned about that? Those move at the speed of light. Right?
So we've been emitting something at the speed of light outward in every
yes.
direction since
So
the early 20th
let's
century.
say early 20th century.
Rad.
Let's just fucking say 1910 or whatever. I don't know when it was.
We're gonna suck and say it.
1910. So to 2017, we have radio waves that are 107 light years away. Right? Because that's when we turned them on. And they're that far away. And someone 107 light years away just now would be hearing the first radio broadcast.
Oh man.
Is that weird?
All I can think is that, like, as time progresses, they're gonna see our whole civilization turn into a very weird thing. Very quickly.
They're like, oh, this is
At
new.
first, it's like, wait, all these, like, the first transmissions are just, like, war-based. It's
right, probably
just
like
the
telegraphs,
First World
right?
War, trying to figure out what's going. Well, I guess you would have 19th century. We're talking like.
Oh, like boop,
But-
beeps and clicks.
Yeah, beeps and clicks. We've been beeping and clicking since like before the Civil War, dude.
Fuck, man.
Like we've been beeping and clicking for a friggin' while.
long
Like,
time, man. Fuck.
yeah.
So they
Yeah,
used
we're
to
actually
beeps
not
and
that
clicks.
far out, though, if you think. Like, the closest star is 4.3 light years away, so, like, 107 will probably only hit, like,
Few stars.
10 stars by now.
Few star
12
systems.
stars.
Still though, like
Still.
how many potential civilizations are within 10 star systems in every
Good
direction?
question. Like the Goldilocks zones.
Like
planets. That's a good
like,
question.
that's there's still got to be not got to be, but there's still potentially something that fucking hurt us by now.
Right. So, yeah, man.
Why
that's
aren't we
fucking
hearing
crazy.
anything then?
Um,
I presume
that's-
they can hear us.
That is a
We
great
should be able to
question
hear
and a
them at
great
100%.
mystery. And we're always listening. We're
Yeah,
always
we are
listening.
But so the
Maybe
answer
they
is
haven't developed radios yet.
yeah,
Right.
totally. Like they might be in a way later evolutionary
Yeah.
place than we are, or way further, and they're just fucking not using.
Yeah, maybe
they
they're
never
doing
did
something
radio waves.
different.
So
right.
assuming there is probably alien life somewhere,
I mean,
eventually
But I feel like there's a...
could be like millions or billions of years from now.
Right.
We would get
we would just be hearing constant radio waves.
Well,
If
people
they
listening.
used radio
Yeah.
waves, yeah.
You're also
whatever
assuming
we're
that these
tracking
alien
for.
lives are hyper intelligent.
Exactly. That's what
Yeah,
I was going to say.
they might
When people
not
say...
be. Yeah,
When,
we
like,
look
when you
for
ask
cells
if
on
there's
Mars.
life in the universe, I'm
We're
gonna say
looking
yes.
for
Yeah, yeah, totally.
There's no way that there's the chances of life in the universe is just so crazy, and there's like even it could just be perfect for like think about it. We're perfect for our conditions.
Yeah, we fit
They
it.
could just be something that's perfect
That's
for their
working.
for that
Yeah.
condition.
Point, right.
Like
And
we're just a
it's just-
silicon-based
like-
fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, didn't like
It's just random. Like
Yeah.
eventually, in a random
But
number
intelligent life
generator, you will
is
hit all of the
a
numbers
whole
different
if you
story.
Wait
Yeah.
long enough.
Like
Yeah.
we're
Right.
one.
yeah. That's
We're
where
a sample
on a
size of
planet
one.
It's-
that's had billions of species on
We're-
it. Like,
well, this is the
But
the
given
Fermi
enough time,
paradox.
Exactly.
Is the-
That's the Fermi paradox.
The Fermi
yeah.
paradox,
Where is
where
everybody?
if there's this many options that we can pick from,
Right.
where is everybody?
Right.
And it's how many people potentially put their light out before they had a fucking chance
Yeah.
with stupidity
That's
with
that's
war.
all the thoughts of like
We had nukes
are-
before we had space travel.
Wow.
So
You're right.
we had nukes 20 years before we considered going to the fucking moon.
Right. Right.
We could have ended our species within a
That's
lifetime to
right.
getting to space.
Yeah, man. That's like the thought is like
Did you
where
know-
we are relative to
Ooh,
other species.
Quick
Like,
history
we could
things.
be-
You know, the first thing that ever made it out of orbit was a German artillery shell in the First World War,
I didn't know that.
1917.
Really?
They broke fucking orbit
Wow,
with
dude.
what they called their Paris gun.
Uh huh.
They were able to fire a shell about 80 miles.
Gotcha. Wow.
So they had to shoot it in space.
James killed that.
No,
had to shoot in space.
I think it's
Don't
fucking
kill shit.
huge.
it's a male. It doesn't suck blood. It's fine.
Oh, that's a male mosquito when they're that big? I didn't know.
They bout to fuck.
I'm fucked up.
I'm trying to fuck. That's what he's doing. He doesn't have
Yeah, he's contact high.
Also, only female mosquitoes suck blood because they have to support children.
He's right.
That's that.
Shout out
Black holes and
females.
mosquitoes.
Shout out to females.
I feel like we're the
Go
only
get
species
gas.
that disregards
Go
females.
get her.
Yo, that thing got fucked up by the light.
He's trying to
Guys, we
fuck.
currently have a podcast.
All right. So fucking okay.
There's a
Okay.
bug in the room.
Listen. So
You don't pay for this. Shut up.
fucking,
Oh,
yeah.
Stop it. You do the kill part.
Fermi paradox is crazy.
So just really quickly,
Yeah.
we could have put out the human species before we ever made it to space,
Right.
before we really got deep into radio
Yeah.
travel, before we did all these things that we're currently doing. We could have ended the human race,
Right.
and that's the idea.
But
is
we
that
didn't,
there could have
though.
been life.
Right. They could have been. Like, it's cool that like we got this far with all that shit that could have happened.
well, like
You know?
I
It's
feel
real
like at that-
cool.
I feel like at that point,
Dude, because it doesn't matter if we did. Fuck
It
us, it doesn't even matter.
Like in the
That's why it's super cool that we're
Yeah.
still fucking. Sorry, all right.
it's cool. Like
I'm a bit of a nihilist, a little bit. I
No,
think,
it's okay.
but like it's the opposite because I think it's cool that that it doesn't matter and we still do it.
yeah. You know what it is? Like we're making our own meaning in this meaningless
We're
universe.
just fucking doing it.
We're just doing it, man.
that's funny though, because imagine like someone got that radio shit. Because you said radio since like the fucking late 1800s. Like,
Yeah.
beeps and clicks.
We've been
Imagine
beeping and
beeps
clicking.
Yeah.
And then
In
all of a
200
sudden,
years,
all of a
we've
sudden they
got
just hear a
porn.
big explosion, and they're
That's
like,
it.
"It's just over."
It's over. Wait. So. Wait.
Oh my god, dude, it was just like it was like, oh, we're at Delta 4. And then the rest are like, what's up, gracias? And then everything's done.
And then they just spend 10 years trying to figure out what happened to us.
The biggest cosmic mystery.
Could
Shit.
you imagine? That's like the greatest fucking.
Dude, that'd
It's
be
like,
a-
it's like
Dude,
a
it's
book.
a radio
You listen to a
drama.
book for like 300
It
years.
just cuts off.
And it just ends.
Dude,
You're like, oh,
it's
shit.
longer than One Piece.
Longer than One Piece.
But barely. Only
Fuck,
if it
man.
ended this week, it's still a little shorter than One Piece.
Wow. A little shorter.
That's for no one.
Fucking. Okay,
It's
hold
for
on.
no one who cares.
No.
I
Hold
hope that
on.
audience-
So, humans making meaning in a meaningless universe.
I love it.
I want to go back to Voyager again, real
Hit me
quick.
with it.
Real quick, you with me?
Well, we're gonna
so,
get there?
listen, we're like the universe does not care about whether we make it or not as a people, right? But we on this Voyager, we put
Fuck
this
the
record. We put this record and shot it out into the
Like,
universe.
I hope the universe
Listen,
cares.
we shot this record out, and on this record,
Do we know it's
there's-
still going?
Yeah, it's still heading out. there.
We know that. Yeah,
I think
okay,
we
got a
we're
little-
losing. Did we lose communication with it? I think we did. I think we lost communication with it. It's just
gone.
heading out. It's gone.
Well, it eventually gets out of our
It could have just
ability
hit
to
something.
track
It could get just nailed by
It
something.
might get
That's what I'm
something you
thinking.
destroyed.
Is like,
But we
there's a lot of stuff flying through the void.
Right. But we sent this record out with. On this record, we put a bunch of music that tried to sample what humans were like.
Oh man.
We put I think we put some drum beats.
Dude, I
We
took a
put
world history course, a
we
world
took-
music history
Yeah,
course
yeah.
in college.
Did
I
you?
know
Did they
that
talk about
album-
this?
No, I just know what that album's
Yeah.
gonna sound like.
They put
It's gonna be real kind of racist.
Chuck Berry's on there.
Awesome.
Chuck Berry.
No, you know what? I take it all back. I hope it's just Chuck Berry and Little Richard for like 40 albums. They're like, good luck. He went a little gospel somewhere in the middle, but good luck. And they're like, dude, we're fucking going to Earth tomorrow. It's rad. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
So
I can't
rad.
stop. I've drunk a lot of
Fucking-
alcohol and smoked a lot of weed.
But another thing we put on this record, we
say
put
drunk?
a bunch of different humans saying hello in a bunch of different
Oh,
languages.
konnichiwa.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yo, but think about it. Someone can get that doesn't even have ears.
That's true.
Yeah,
though.
they gotta hear it.
Yeah,
They also,
but
but like, they
I
gotta be able to
think-
work the thing.
I think the big idea is that
We're trying.
we are reaching.
You
You
sent
know,
her the text,
we-
even though you maybe shouldn't.
Oh my god, this is like the shit.
we
You know,
We're-
shoot or shoot, but like this is a little much.
They gotta shoot for it.
we sent it out. We sent it out into the universe.
I mean,
And whether or not they hear us or not, it's whatever. But the fact that we sent it out, I think, says a lot about our.
do you think we're
species.
gonna
Well, this
ever
could
do
like
that
hit
again?
someone's planet and be like, who the fuck just threw
Somebody,
this at us?
and now they know. They got our fucking address. We 9/11 some city in space,
It's
New
like
York.
getting a brick. It's like getting a brick, writing your address on it, and then
and
throwing it
fucking
through a
chucking
window.
it into the void. The fuck? Weird.
Yeah, because someone's gonna get this and hear Chuck Berry and be like,
Dude,
actually, I don't know, they seem alright.
Oh god, can we do it again but have pictures of some dude like fucking Yeah, like DXing on the.
Let's send out a new album with just DMX on it, dude.
Oh, dude, damn would be on it. Oh yeah,
So, dude,
Oh.
I mean, it's unlikely, assuming we find an alien society that is like intelligent enough to figure out what the fuck we mean by
We
this
have to
record
assume
and
these
work
things,
it.
yeah.
We can assume that like they probably would discover it still in space.
We would hope.
Like they
But
would
it's
have
just
to be
going.
advanced enough. But if they didn't,
What if
per
they were
se,
like-
Right.
did we construct this thing so that it can survive like
collision?
entering orbit and like going through the atmosphere and landing?
I don't think
That's
so.
a good question.
Probably not.
Probably not.
No,
So,
I don't
like,
think. I don't
we
think we could have in the
essentially
But also,
70s.
I'm pretty sure isn't like the music playing off of it? Isn't like the record
I
playing
don't
off
think
of
so.
it
I
or
don't think they
something?
have any energy to be playing it.
I really hope it's at least beeping.
Boop. Yeah, I agree that we can generally kind of figure something's coming at our planet, right? Like we're at a point where we can kind of we can call it. We can call it a
do
little
it, but we
bit.
can't do nothing about it.
Not yet.
Yeah,
No,
we're
no.
just kinda-
But we can call it,
We're
right?
like patiently waiting for it. Like we
You'd
know
be
it's
surprised.
We know it could happen, but like most people are like, if it hasn't happened now, it's probably not going to happen in my lifetime. But, like someone might hear it eventually. The chances
We have no
that
plan.
it
though. We have no
Yeah.
plan for anything.
No, yeah,
big
no.
coming
I know
at
we
us.
have no plan,
Yeah.
but
That's
that's
like the kind of thing you
not
exercise. It's
okay.
like fuck you. We're worrying about more important things.
we have things. Like, all right, you want to just shoot fucking rocket comets out of the goddamn
dude,
sky?
Our best explanation for why the dinosaurs went extinct was a huge fucking asteroid hit the Earth. You know what I mean? And like did the whole fucking cloud and cooled shit off and whatever. So like we could probably sense that coming better than the dinosaurs did.
Yeah,
but we
well-
have no way to fucking deal with it.
You
though.
try
So-
working a computer with those little teeny arms.
Dude, a probe is not that big though.
Yeah, I
think
know.
that killed
I'm
the
talking big
dinosaurs.
space.
No, I know. That thing
Fucking
was like
big
what?
space
The size
rocks.
of Texas or some nonsense?
No, the Voyager?
No. The thing that hit the Earth and killed the dinosaurs.
Yeah, it was
Wait,
big. It was fucking
That's
big.
why we're not funding NASA anymore. They fucking made the Voyager the size of Texas.
It's the size of Texas. They shot Texas at anywhere.
President was like, who the fuck?
That's something that
made
big
this?
destroyed the dinosaurs.
Shit, man. Probably understand.
No,
That's
I
really
don't
getting a
mean
brick and
it's
putting our
well,
address
I
on.
mean, it'll like burn up.
Yeah,
and-
I
Yeah,
am not.
probably
I
maybe
am
not burn up.
Kat,
We
that's a great-
we could do that.
that's a
I don't
great
think we can handle
question.
It
collision.
may not burn up because think about it. It survives getting out of our atmosphere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but let's talk fucking
But
30
they
or
didn't
40
send it
years
out,
later.
like, in a jet or a rocket or something.
Well, they
right.
probably strapped it to a big rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Strapped it. All right, there's an
Duct tape,
album.
though, like send it up.
There's a fucking record player duct taped to a rocket, shot into space, and it's just playing the
Yeah.
whole time. It's powered by
So,
solar.
You're right. I think it's like most likely that this record's dropping, you're just gonna hit with something and destroyed. And it's gonna be super anticlimactic. Like you sent this beautiful thing out, and it's gonna be like just one stupid rock and
How
just
much
like
did it-
fucking.
How much did it cost?
That's a great question. I'm not sure.
Well, the record was
That's
made
why
of
we're
gold.
not gonna
Made
fund
of
that
gold. It was
shit.
made of gold.
They made it a fucking
But
gold.
at the end of the day, though,
Well, because
should-
you
yeah,
know, it's
no,
a
I'm
good
sure it's a
material
great
for fucking.
I'm sure they had a reason. I don't
even
think
though
scientists are making rap albums and shit.
We need 10
Sending
kilograms
them
of
out.
gold. Don't ask.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry
I'm
about
making a sick album.
We're gonna
It's
shoot
gonna be
some
fire.
The government's like, are you sure?
Yeah, it's called Damn.
damn,
Sponsored by Kendrick.
like subscribe, comment.
Kendrick, come on. Hit me up.
I don't know. I just think it's cool that it's most likely that nothing's gonna happen. No one's gonna hear that record. It's gonna be whatever. But we still sent it out. I think this says a lot about us.
We are such
Do
poetic
you think
people.
we would do it again? In a more, maybe better way?
I mean, we're sending out all our TV signals and
Poets.
everything too.
No, I know we're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
But do you think we'd do it in a package that was specifically sent to let people know that we exist as a species? We kind of do shit this way.
I think it's more of we want to be remembered. You know, I
Oh,
think
yeah?
most likely. I think it's most likely that
We're not trying
if
to.
anything
That's not trying to
ever
make
found it.
contact. That's trying to.
I don't know.
Like set some historical precedent for the universe to maybe destroy with a big rock.
No, I think humans are more. I think at our core, fundamentally, we want to be important, you know, and that's why we do shit like that.
Yeah.
And I think we sent out this record because we want a sense of importance. We want a sense of being remembered, whether we're still here or not. That record is still something we made that exists and that we put out in the universe,
I
and
don't think
for the
it's
chance
that,
of something
though.
finding it.
I think it's the same reason that we do science
Mhm.
Because
because
we're
we're
questioning.
curious and we have to figure.
What if
things
somebody
out.
found it and hit us up?
Yo, what up? How you
Yeah,
doing?
we
Hey.
have to know. We have that hope that
Dude, a ship shows up.
someday
Yeah.
we will discover like some sort of
I guess it's
alien
like,
life.
what is more?
All right, guy shows up, green bro. He's got the album.
Yeah,
He's like, dude,
this shit was hype.
I need to meet Chuck Berry. Oh, you just missed him.
Just missed them by a few.
Could you imagine they just fucking fly up in some spaceship and land? Like
And
in
fucking
Washington,
Johnny B.
D.C.
Good is
They
playing.
knock on the White House. They're like,
Dude, it's blasting down in space windows, which he's got rolled down.
he's like, yo, this shit.
He's like, dude, where is that guy? This planet's radical.
I don't know, but Kat, that is a good question though. Like, what is more core to us? Like, do we want to know if something's out there, or do we just want to feel? I don't know. Do we
Why
wanna
not
just,
both,
like,
though? I mean, I
doing
could
into
I could
space.
see,
Like,
I can see both.
like, the reason you'd
you know
send
what?
something out. 'cause
People on the team probably did it for different reasons themselves.
the first thing we did was go, what if this life doesn't work this thing? Like, so it could be, you know,
Yeah.
maybe they don't have hands, maybe they don't have ears,
Right.
maybe they don't have eyes, maybe they don't perceive the way we do because their system doesn't require it.
That's
But they
interesting
got
to
to a
think about,
point
too.
where they could have, say, space travel,
Right.
or the ability to receive radio waves in this way. Or if they even receive radio waves, you know, in the way that we fucking figured it.
Right.
So they find this thing and they go, "What is this space garbage?" And or they're as intelligent as we are, they'd probably keep it, but have no reason to understand.
That's a good
what
point
it
too.
is.
They might just see it as space garbage.
It
Like,
could be space garbage.
We like circles.
No,
we like
if
shiny
if
circles.
we found something like that, we would think more than space garbage, and we'd keep it and we'd look at it, but we may not have any fucking clue.
But what if like beauty for an alien is like a crumpled up piece of it looks like garbage dust? It would fall from space and we'd be like, oh, this looks
man,
like
it's a
garbage.
Coke
Yeah,
can.
What if
What
to
if
them
you,
it
like-
looks? It just seems like garbage. You know what I mean? Like they didn't evolve to appreciate
if we
perfectly
found
round, shiny
a
things.
space can, right? A can,
No, dude, shit
and we're
falls from
like,
space all the time.
but if it was a can the shape like our Coke cans are, even crumpled slightly,
yeah.
we would know that's some form of structure.
I guess you're
Like that would be if there isn't intelligent enough to have space travel, they have to have the
Have
ability.
some kind of structure.
Maybe this is a fallacy. I feel like they have to have the ability to intuit. They would look at this thing and go, "Okay,
Someone made that.
this is a structure made.
They
We
can-
know
they can
enough
connect the
that
dots."
like." Something like this,
Yeah.
it's got a. I don't know if they would look at a barcode and be like, "Come on, why is this like this? It's painted shit." Like,
Yeah, that's weird. That's
like
cool.
we can intuit that this was
Yeah.
They would have
made
to
and
be,
this
like,
is nature.
problem or
Right.
pattern
They could
noticing
recognize
creatures.
patterns.
non-organically, non-bioorganically.
So
the
if you
universe doesn't
got-
make stuff like that.
If you got a golden album that came out of space,
with directions on it.
maybe gold doesn't mean the same thing to your society, but like this is a made thing,
Right.
and we're gonna fucking look at it.
Yeah.
And they may not get what we're putting down, but
Yeah.
they're definitely gonna be like, okay, this is like this stuff. If this just happens in nature, like we gotta look into some shit. We
Yeah,
have
they
more
would
questions now.
investigate.
They would have to
regardless.
investigate something
because they follow the same physical rules that we do. They're
Yeah.
in the same. They're playing the same game in the universe, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Fuck, man.
I don't know, man. Too much for me. Because, like, I mean,
Life.
they could be evolutionary perfect for their environment like we are and not have any idea what that shit is and not even, like, care about it.
They could have just stopped advancing on their planet from
Like,
the
think
medieval
about, like,
ages
humans,
for them.
Like, think about humans are so rare, I guess you could say, like, if you really think about it.
Yes.
But, like, also think about how perfect
One.
the conditions were for us to make us.
A lot of good things
Yeah.
happen. Like our
lot of
moon
good.
is such a nice size that the tides work just the right way.
Like, we're so fucking perfect.
Yo, we're just the right distance away
So,
from
like,
the
how
sun.
can
That
this
water is
happen? Like,
liquid.
but, like,
you
also
know?
the
Not
chances
we,
of
but
this
yeah.
happening again is like very small. But the fact that we're so
It
like
happens.
the universe is so vast, it makes it possible.
Yeah.
But the universe is so
weird,
vast,
man.
that's how we come up with their dubbed Goldilocks zones.
Yeah.
That they're
Yeah.
just fucking right
It's the law
for
of
what
large
we
numbers.
think
There
works.
could be life
works.
in our own solar system on
It's-
the moons of fucking Saturn and shit.
Wait, dude.
but it's
there-
not intelligent life. It's
Right.
just like microbes. It
Yeah.
could be.
But that's good enough.
The
Yeah,
fact that like
exactly.
so like
The minute we know
getting
that-
life to happen is important. If we find life so anywhere else in the universe, that's huge, right?
But intelligent life is such a
Intelligent life is
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because what does it even mean to be in?
But knowing that there's other life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Knowing.
Right.
Have we ever found anything that we can say?
we've only found something that can survive in space, but we've never.
Tardigrades, dude.
Tardigrade.
Yo, did you read the tardigrades?
Yeah, we've been over the
Fucking
fucking,
coolest
not on
things.
this. We talked about tardigrades.
It's so good.
But yeah,
I would
they can
never
survive in
remember
space,
that.
but we've never detected life outside of Earth.
So like, I just thought
shoot
I
life
just
out
thought
of
of a
there or something.
statistics
Yeah.
concept. I just thought of a statistic concept that's called
Fuck statistics.
no, it's cool. It's called law of large
No,
numbers.
it's cool.
Right?
It's
Seriously.
sponsored by statistics.
Like, subscribe, comment, statistics. So fucking all right, law of large numbers. Like when you have enough chances, weird shit like coincidences could happen. Like weird things, unlikely things could happen if you have enough chances for them to happen, right?
Yeah. It's
That's
the flying average. Like the more
Yeah,
times
yeah.
you fly, the more likely you are to be in an
right.
aircraft accident.
And that's like
Nice.
that's why
Good luck
like
with that
weird coincidences happen. You know what I mean? In the world, like that's why you go around some days and you're like, man, that's a weird thing. Like you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
you see,
God.
yeah.
For real. Though.
Fucking. But
God of
so if we
statistics.
apply
Hot take.
law of large numbers to the universe, how big the universe is, life is super unlikely to happen. But is the universe vast enough that law of large numbers takes over and
That's what I was
unlikely things
saying.
could happen?
Give it
Yeah.
enough time.
Right.
Shit'll happen.
Shit happens.
Roll the dice.
Fuck,
kid.
man. I gotta pee so bad.
Shout out to the universe for being huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, universe.
Aggressively average.
Aggressive. Well, our sun. The universe is. Excuse me. Universe is.
No, cut it right after he rips ass.
Right after he says, "Excuse me."
How do we know our universe is average? We have no universe to compare it to universes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there could be multiverses. We could just be a bubble. We're about to hit another bubble.
Man, I'm not. We'll talk about the multiverse another time. We can't do it right now. I can't even handle the universe. I can't handle the multiverse.
Good night.
All right.